Hi, everybody. Tonight, we are continuing the house in Fata, Morgana. Been a crazy one so far. Last week, we got a lot of answers, but I gotta say, I still have a lot of questions. And the answers that we received are passed through such an unreliable narrator and an unreliable source that I don't necessarily know what's real and what's fake. I don't know. So, I can tell you what we gathered, but I can't tell you if any of it's right or not. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where we just got hit with so much information from an unreliable, both the maid is unreliable and our narrator character is unreliable, and it just kind of all happened so fast. But here's the story. Last week, we went through door 4. And door 4 took us back to the year 1099. Way back. And we learned the story of Michelle and the white-haired girl, and them falling in love in a beautiful, very romanticized, not quite Disney-esque, but definitely the sweetest and most saccharine of the doors yet. Michelle was cursed, and Michelle's curse was if he touched anybody, they would immediately, if not immediately, they would die. Anybody he touched would eventually die. For a butterfly, it was the butterfly landed right on his finger, and it just went, and it died. A thief, a robber, came to the house, and Michelle kind of snapped and touched the guy, and he kind of decayed in real time and was able to run back to town. And when the thief burglar ran back to town, he gathered everybody up, and they went and tried to both hunt him and the white-haired girl down. And at this point, Michelle and the white-haired girl were madly in love with each other, and they kind of formed a pact that they would both die together. The white-haired girl was falling ill because she touched some of his blood after he got stabbed, and Michelle, without her, really didn't have anything to live for anymore. And so they went to the highest point of the tallest tower in the mansion and decided that this would be it. Michelle would hold her until she faded away, until she passed, and then the people trying to bum rush and take him out in the house would kill him. And then we learned that story was made up. And that story was made up by the maid. And through a series of, hoops jumping through and questions and answers and this, that, and the other, we finally learned our player character. At this point, we learned that our player character is Michelle, from my understanding. Now, correct me if you guys have it understood differently. And the maid, who has been taking us through each room of this house, is not the witch as she believed she was. The maid who has been taking us through each room of this house is the white-haired girl. And the white-haired girl doesn't actually exist. It's just a story being told by the maid, whose real name is Giselle. We have awoken to who we are and realized that this door 4 story, this very romanticized, cutesy version of what really happened is nothing but a mirage, a Fata Morgana, if you will, hiding the truth of, cutesy, right? You know what I mean? Like idealized, like a very storybook tragedy romance, Shakespearean-esque Romeo and Juliet type vibe. And the truth is now being revealed. We, awoken to who we truly are looking at Giselle, the one that we loved, and going, hold on a second. The real story goes like this. Michelle woke up, realized that we were Michelle, and went, you're probably wondering how I got here. But before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. And so that's where we are right now. Franco, does that check out? I got to tell you, the stream last week, we had a lot of endings. We went through different routes. It's kind of at a point where there are more. One door closed. We got some answers, but from the one answer we got, 3 more questions popped up. And so I'm caught in this like weird loop where I don't know what's real, what's fake. I don't know what's up and what's down. I don't know who I am or what I'm doing. But I'm having a great time. And thank you everybody for being here. Yeah, it's cute for this game. Exactly. We're here to find out tonight. Episode 8 of The House in Fata Morgana. Worth noting that this current door... Okay, so we flipped the script. The first 4 doors were the maid taking us into the history. And now this new door, door number 5, is us taking the maid into her truth so that she can find who she really is, because she's in this complete denial state where she doesn't, want to believe doesn't want to believe the truth of the world or her truth in the world. All right. Worth noting, as always, if you're just here from popping in, maybe you're checking in from the Fata Morgana category, maybe you're somebody in the channel, somebody in the community that hasn't watched every stream here. There's a lot going on in this game. This is a game about trauma. This is a game about intense, reprehensible situations and overcoming that adversity and hardship and tragedy and finding yourself, finding love, seeking acceptance. A lot of crazy stuff happens in this story so far, and I expect for a lot of crazy stuff to continue to happen as this story progresses. So, I hope you enjoy, but if at any point it does become too much for you, no worries. We're playing a bunch of stuff over here, so there's always something new if Fata Morgana is not your scene. But for now, I'm going to load our save. And we are about an hour into door 5, I believe, maybe a little less. And door 5 has a split narrator situation. We are learning the story from both Giselle's perspective, as indicated by the little pink rose here, as well as Michelle's perspective, as indicated by some other visual representation. So, this is the truth of what's been going on in the house in Fata Morgana. The real truth of not only ourselves and Michelle, but also the maid. Several days had passed since the package arrived. The end of my 3rd week living in the mansion was drawing near. Michelle wasn't getting any friendlier either. He continued to either snub or bluntly dismiss me whenever we crossed paths. I didn't understand why he acted that way around me, but there was little point in asking when he seemed to think there was little point in talking to me at all. Although at first I had been sure there was some way to get him to warm up to me, the more time I spent in the mansion, the more my willpower began to feel like it was at its breaking point. I could tell myself to stay positive until I was blue in the face, but it would only work for so long. The one pretty place in this whole house. I'm glad he hasn't covered it back up. Blue moonlight shone quietly through the stained glass window, vainly illuminating some kind of room. I hadn't noticed until now, but the room with the stained glass window appeared to be modeled after a chapel. Rows of pews faced the window, below which sat what used to be a pulpit. There was very little left of it, though, and an awkward length of silver was mounted to the pulpit's front face. What was, I assumed, formerly a cross. Upon further reflection, rather than facing the window, the pews seemed to be pointed at the pulpit, or perhaps the cross hanging on it. I wasn't sure why there would be a chapel in a mansion, but I had no one to ask about it. For a house of this size, a statue of Christ or the Virgin Mary seems more appropriate. It's a very well-made chapel at any rate. I doubted Michel had had it built for himself. There would be no reason for him to cover the window if that were the case. Nor had I ever seen him come to pray. He doesn't seem like one to believe in God. God? I'm not even sure If God really existed, then surely the world would be a much more pleasant, peaceful place. No unfair disparities in money or power, no senseless misfortune. I certainly wouldn't have found myself here either. But God was evidently quite fond of giving mankind trials, so he would probably tell me with a straight face that this was one too. Or, perhaps, we simply had a false impression of him, and he didn't actually give us anything. He merely sat back and watched from somewhere far, far away. It wasn't his job to bring peace to the world or ensure our laws were fair. That was all mankind's responsibility. What is God? What are angels? I have no idea. Maybe the Bible has answers? Why should I pray to someone so far away? How do I know my prayer is even getting there? But still, it's not like I have any other options. Don't you worry. It'll all work out, I promise. I already know where I'm going to work. It's a really prominent noble house way out of reach of some small-time merchants like us. You never know, this could be my big break. Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, don't look so worried. I'll be just fine, honestly. I'll make enough money for us to get back onto our feet. Oh, for goodness sakes, I can handle it. Leave everything to me. You just wait. I'll make our family into something you can be proud of. I'll be fine. Yeah, say bye to Mom for me. I probably won't be home for a while. What? You're afraid I'm gonna make some careless mistake? I'm not that airheaded. I can be refined and elegant. I can be a refined and elegant young lady. Those nobles won't even know what to believe anymore. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a little taste? How are you doing this fine morning, master? Your morning beverage is ready, prepared with the utmost of care. See? How about that? Not bad, huh? What? You really think it sounded forced? I was the daughter of a merchant who ran a shop on the capital's main street. My father had passed away in a plague, so it was just me, my mother, and my older sister. It would be a lie to say business was doing well. We struggled to squeak by day to day after taxes. But we couldn't just abandon the shop and leave the capital either. So we tried to make the best of what we were able to take in between the three of us. Then, my sister fell in love with a moderately well-off aristocrat. Both my mom and I were supportive of her and her desire to marry, but their union almost fell apart because she was not suitable for him. Merchants were hardly the lowest class. What we lacked instead was wealth. We needed another source of money beyond what the shop took in. If only we had money, my sister could get married. If only we had money, my mom wouldn't have to work so hard. If only we had money. It was then that someone from the distinguished Bollinger estate approached me. He said that they were in need of Abigails and would love to have me. He said that if I agreed to work for them, the Bollinger estate would take care of my family. Generally speaking, noble houses took Abigails from other, lower-ranked noble houses. It was unthinkable for someone of my status to receive such an offer. So I took it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance and accepted the offer. It's honestly both of these, It's both Ricky P4 cash and a little Ricky P4 faith in the mix there. Just kind of sprinkling in a little faith. Just a little. I just pray that nothing bad happens to my sister, and that Mom's getting enough money to live comfortably. That's all I can do. They're nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. The light shining through the stained glass window began to grow murky, fading into blackness. It felt like a message from on high, that no, my prayers would not be answered. The bluish-white illumination shining down upon me disappeared as clouds blocked the moon. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me? What's up, John? Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. So Michelle's got the little blue ivy, you see that? Not to be confused with Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter. They're nobility. They have plenty of money. Enough to spare some. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at a sullied woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake. I never asked to end up like this. Giselle was sitting at one of the pews in the room with the stained glass window. Just looking at her, you might have thought she was offering a prayer.
Hello, had a busy Sunday. Happy to be here to chill for the night.
Susie, happy to have you. I hope you can chill for the night. Hope it was a good kind of busy Sunday and not a stressful kind of busy Sunday. Sometimes a good busy is a really good feeling on a weekend. But lots of cooking. Okay, cool. Happy to hear that. Well, settle in. We're already in the thick of things here. We're just reading along, uncovering the truth, the real answers of the house in Fata Morgana, assumedly. But the words coming from her mouth were anything but prayerful. They were filled with resentment. They have plenty of money, a sullied woman. And then I never asked to end up like this. So this is what's beneath that facade. Most likely money's what she's after. All I need to do now is confirm my suspicions with them. Just what awful secrets will I uncover? I gave Giselle, sitting in the pew with her head drooped, a cursory glance before leaving the chapel. I had somewhere else to be. The bitterly cold outside air felt like dozens of needles flowing into my lungs. It had been so long since I had stepped beyond the mansion's walls. A thick mist canopied the night sky, blocking out the moonlight. Naturally, the heavens did not rejoice at my leaving the house. It had been 10 years since I had seen the mansion from the outside, and it hadn't changed one bit. A gloomy scar upon the earth, shrouded in darkness. Hardly the kind of place someone would enthusiastically approach. Nevertheless, it was better than that house. That house? What is this? I'm just gonna shot in the dark. Yes? Who is it? Michelle. What? Michelle Bollinger? Just one moment. I'll be right out. Come in. It's a humble abode, but make yourself at home. I have no idea who this is gonna be. Wow. I must say, this is rather unexpected. Just one word and I would have been up there in a heartbeat. And how was I supposed to do that? Yo! Hi, everybody! Tay, hello! Hello, everybody. Wait, hold on one second. Let me get this set up. Welcome in. Welcome in to perhaps the hardest game for a group of raiders to drop in on. Thank you so much for the raid, Tay. Gene, I love that the JC smile is spreading further and further and further and further into the Twitch world. I know that right now it's the 200,000 bits award. If anybody here wants to pony up the 200,000 bits to Geneva Lay, right? It's Lay, is that right? I remember hearing that from Snow once. And I think you went, yes, that's right, because a lot of people hit you with the Lee. It's Lee, okay, it is Lee, so Snow fucked up. Okay, got it, it is Lee. I had a good friend named Lee in high school. Okay, good, happy to hear it. He fucked up, and you were just too kind. I understand. See, now it spreads. Michael Lay, the Transformer guy. Right, exactly. Geneva Lay, the director of Transformers. Hi everybody. Welcome in. I'm GoatedQuest. This is the house in Fata Morgana. This is a full-length visual novel that we are just about 18 hours into. We're on episode 8 right now. I think we're a little over halfway now. And it's been a lot. You need the full JC collection? It's growing, man. It's growing more and more by the day. You did it in Jesse's stream. You were the one that made the Jesse one, right? You were the one that made Peen. And it keeps growing. Now Snow has one, now Gene has one. Everybody's gonna have one eventually. It's sweeping Twitch. We could take the one John Coffey Jr. emote, flip it on the horizontal axis and zoom it in a little bit, and we could have Weber, JC Weber. Only 200,000 bits. Right, it's a bargain. It's a bargain. How do you pronounce Fata Morgana? Like this, Fata Morgana. What's up, Dunkle? And welcome in, everybody. Yo, Darth, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who else we got? Gene's in here. Darth is in here. Dunkle just snuck in here. It's going well. Right, the Vectro Billy, that's close. Speedster reporting in live from Germany? If I do understand that correctly, Speedster reporting in from Germany. Hey, Dunkle, have a great night. Fata Morgana.
Gaming.
Good morning, sunshine. How are you, Speedster? Just woke up from a nap. Tay say hey. Hey, Margaret, how are you? We are currently playing Fata Morgana, but I am starting a new playthrough on Wednesday of this week. Sweet Home, the Capcom JRPG that directly inspired Resident Evil to the point that Resident Evil started as a remake of Sweet Home. We will be starting that on Wednesday. Get very excited for it. We'll be continuing Alien Isolation on Tuesday, and I have no stream on Thursday. I got friends coming into town, and I'm gonna enjoy my time with some friends, and yeah. But tonight, let me get back to the focus at hand. Thank you so much for the raid, Tay. Did you beat the one Reborn? I hope so. So I gotta go make dinner. I'm making the literal same pizza again for my redemption arc. Good luck. Good luck. It can't happen twice, right?
Gaming.
It can't happen twice. Yeah, thank you, Margaret. I got buddies coming into town because, we're right in the midst of fall color season here in North Carolina. And just kind of gonna, drive west towards, Tennessee, towards the Smoky Mountains, and just spend some time driving on back roads and stuff and just kind of soaking in the fall foliage. Tay had an epic gaming moment and beat the Juicy Moon Boy. It's better than a heated gaming moment. I'll say that much. Hey, good job, Tay. I'm proud of you. I'm thinking about Bloodborne. I'm gonna tell everybody here, especially the new raiders, I have an event stream in the chamber, in the oven right now. I'm cooking up the details right now. Putting the spices in, making sure everything's perfect. And probably in December. Can I recommend Klingman's Dome? It's a parent in North Carolina. It's yeah, absolutely. Klingman's Dome's cool. I haven't been there, but I know it is cool. And it's just called Klingman's Dome, which is a funny name. Sounds so nice. We're hitting the same in Nevada. It's nice to see some colors in the mountains. Absolutely. Who up Klingen they dome? who up Klingen they dome? I'm gonna get back to going here. Get back to this game. Get going. But that was my soft announcement. This December, I am doing my version of a subathon. What it entails, you'll have to find out when I get a little bit closer to the date, and you can kind of learn a little bit about what I'm cooking up, because I've got some good ideas in my head, and you'll see eventually. Event stream this December. Pencil it in for the time between Christmas and New Year, one of those days, like a last week of the year thing. And beyond that, I'll leave the rest shrouded in mystery until maybe like December 1st. And I'll break out all the details on that. But I've been working. I've been behind the scenes. Franco knows. Catch me up. Okay, Speedster. Were you here last stream? Penciling it in. Pencil it in. You know, I don't have a notes app. Notes emote. That's a great one. Is that sand? Yeah, that's really nice. But I have learned that from the hype train, I got this little guy that kind of works. More of a studious thing than taking notes. But you were. Okay. So you know the story that the maid is Giselle, and she's repressing mentally tons of the truth of her memories. And kind of terrifying, that owl. He's learning. He's spending so much time learning. He doesn't have enough time to look cute. We're in door 5 now, which is Michelle kind of recounting the story of the maid so that Giselle can kind of relearn who she is. The tables have kind of turned, right? We spent the first 15 hours of the game learning who we are, and now we know who we are. But our love, Giselle, the maid, the white-haired girl who didn't have white hair at all, is the one that's in denial now. And so we're recounting the true story of our past to kind of get her back. We're all learning. I will learn to be less terrified of what he's reading. He's reading How to Get Revenge, which inspired the VHS of this. No, he's not, guys. He's not reading that. I'm going to get back to this now. And how was I supposed to do that? I am regrettably fresh out of carrier pigeons. Michelle's got jokes. Right. Yes. My apologies. This man, living in a small cottage not far from the mansion, had been hired by the Bollinger family. His job? To watch over me. That said, we never actually interacted. He was tasked with keeping track of whether I was still alive, and whether I remained in the mansion. The monthly package from my family was delivered to him, which he then passed on to me. It was insipidly convoluted, but it was indicative of how much they wanted to avoid anyone learning about me. To give a little prepper for the Tay Raiders of what this is the house in Fata Morgana. It released in 2019 or 2021? I don't remember the year. Anyway, if you go right now and you go to Metacritic's greatest games of all time, it is currently slotted at number... Let me find it. I just saw it yesterday. Number 38 with a 96 average out of 100. It is one of the most acclaimed, one of the most celebrated visual novels of all time. Everybody who's ever read this story walks away going like, holy fuck, let's go. And what game is above and below it. Let me take a look. Above one notch, also at a 96, Mass Effect 2. Below one notch, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. But it is, you know how Metacritic gets. Metacritic is kind of all over the map, but it is a very, 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 very acclaimed game. And we're about 18 hours into it, and it's kind of the story of an old house and the tragedy that has befallen it and carried over generations, and overcoming adversity and trauma and reprehensible, intense situations, and finding love and acceptance through, the trials of the world. Just want to say for the Raiders, I do have an advisory for this game in particular, because it's very adult. A lot of fucked up stuff. We're, as I said, about 18 hours in, and have seen a lot and intend to see more. But again, everything that I've ever heard expressed about this game is that all of the elements are purposeful, in a way that is delicate about its subject matter, and very, very thoughtful about what it uses, why it uses it, and everything else. But that being said, intense situations, story about people overcoming those intense situations and finding love in the face of it all. So, it's a love story. Well then, what can I do for you? The manservant was visibly rattled, afraid too, but not because of the difference in our social ranks. I had a pretty good idea what he had been told about me. He was afraid of me, or more specifically, my curse. People fear that which they cannot comprehend. Not just children, adults as well. They fear demons, witches, and curses, anything impure or not of this world. But I had long since gotten used to being viewed as such. It didn't sadden me, it didn't disappoint me, it didn't pain me. Some things were too foolish to concern yourself over. Though it certainly doesn't make me feel good, either. I was on some level annoyed. That woman's appearance at the mansion had created ripples in my once tranquil life. So before I got into the real reason for my visit, I decided to take out a bit of my frustration. Raise your head. There's no need to be afraid. I don't know what you've been told, but I promise I don't bite. How rude of me. You're right, my sincerest apologies. Your job is to keep watch over me. If the mere sight of me has you trembling, what will you do if I try to run? I would have little trouble escaping. That would be quite unfortunate. What would I ever tell your mother? I'm not sure that would end well at all. You could lose everything you've been paid so far. In fact, you might be lucky to get out with your life. Mine blue light? I'm not sure. I don't remember if I ponied up the extra money for the blue light blockers or not. I really don't remember. Surely your mother would not. You are aware of who you're dealing with, right? Michelle, the cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family, who made a pact with the devil. I don't need a blade to take your life. You wouldn't even make it back to report anything. Have mercy, Lord Michelle, but please do not leave the mansion. Please spare me. Only joking. What? I don't have the power to kill by way of the curse. The man fell silent, but the look on his face said, You are cursed, though, aren't you? Once someone's got an idea planted in their head, it's nigh impossible to get rid of it. I am so cursed that anyone can see it, that I need to be locked away in a dark mansion. I am here because I had a question for you, not to warn you that I plan to run away. A question? For me? Yes. Approximately 3 weeks ago, a black-haired woman came to the mansion. Tell me what you know about her. I was told there would be an Abigail coming, but that's all. I don't know anything else about her. I swear, that's all I know. I haven't been told anything else. I believe you. I never thought they would tell you anything. Right. He had been hired to observe me, but that's all he was. A hired hand. He wouldn't be privy to the Bollinger family's internal affairs. Take this. A letter? I need you to deliver it to my mother. You could have just left it in the box from this month's package, and I would have collected it when I dropped off the next one. I'm in urgent need of information. Will you do this for me? Yes, why yes, absolutely. I'll fetch a delivery boy tomorrow morning. Much appreciated. Good night. Hey, you too, do take care. Why'd I only wear black? It's deliberate. I do it on purpose so that the VODs just always have me in a black shirt. It's a uniformity thing. Like the logos and everything else. I'm a person very, very locked into rituals and doing the same thing over and over. And having a set vibe. I wear long sleeves, I'll wear hoodies, I'll wear different styles of black t-shirt, but it's all black t-shirts. Or all black shirts, rather. Lord Michel. Yes? Is it true that you don't have... Would you like me to sew your mouth shut so you can never open it again? Not at all. My sincerest apologies, Lord Michel. Don't have what? That was horribly disrespectful. Good night. Cursed I most certainly am. You never realized it? Every stream. It's deep goatee lore. It is. It's deep. Very, very observant of you, Dunkel. Yep, only black. Correct. That's correct, Dunkel. That is correct. My mother's response arrived just 10 days later. The delivery boy must have pushed his horse quite hard. It was almost exactly a month after Giselle had moved in. Earth Nuggets, stop it. Not here. And shortly thereafter, on a bone-chilling night, everything came crashing down. The rift between us grew deeper, and the wall between us impossibly high. When I lay bare, the scars in her chest had mercilessly plunged my knife into them. Holy shit. Okay. Jeez. How did we get to this point? Ugh, I hate everything. My spirits were getting darker and darker, like they were slowly sinking into deep morass. I had been at the mansion for a month, and every day since felt twice as long as it should have. I'd been optimistic at first. I'd even had a little hope that me and Michelle could get along together. But it hadn't taken long for that hope to be shattered, and the cheer locked away inside me. We lived in the same house, but we never spoke anymore. On the few occasions we did cross paths, he just gave me a cold glare and nothing more. Scorn and suspicion in his eyes. Whenever he looked at me like that, it felt as though my throat was being constricted, like I was deep underwater and running out of air, like my very presence in the world was a crime. I never could have imagined just how agonizing constant rejection was. I started despising others, despising myself, despising the world. Convinced there was no one who could set me free, I considered running away from everything rather than live like this another day. But I would have done so long ago if that were actually an option. If they found out I had fled, that I acted outside their wishes, my mom and sister would pay. I had succeeded in allowing my sister to get married and my mom to live comfortably. I'd given them happiness. I couldn't take that away from them again. Not after what I had to go through to do it. No, cut that out. Getting way too depressing, Giselle. Pull yourself together. That's not who you are. Be positive. The negativity didn't come from my interactions with Michelle either. No, there seemed to be some kind of terrible presence within the mansion that twisted people's hearts. The mansion was, in fact, a bit of a local legend, which I had been informed about before being sent here. People claimed it was cursed, and that an evil witch had lived in it for many, many years. Michelle joked that he was the witch, but I didn't believe him. I'm not usually one to believe in magic or curses at all, but being here so long, I can't help but wonder. Anyway, things can't go on like this. If I was to remain in this house, the situation needed to improve. A lot. I was going to lose my mind if things kept up as they were. I was ready to give up once, but I'm going to try closing the distance between us again. If I could get him to open up, even the tiniest bit, then maybe that would make living here a bit easier. I wasn't going to try to make us best friends or anything, just repair our relationship enough that being around each other wasn't torturous. I've got my work cut out for me. How do I even begin that conversation? Heck, what is that conversation even going to be about? Maybe I should hold off, do it another day? No. I've made up my mind to do this, so I should get it done quickly. The longer I wait, the worse things are going to get. And eventually there won't be any fixing anything. We need to talk. We need to be in the same room for more than 10 seconds, and we need to get to know each other. He needs to know that he's not the reason I have something to hide. 49. Okay, let's do this. I made my way to Michelle's chambers, which she had told me to stay away from. My stride was slow and ponderous, but at the very least, I did my best to keep some semblance of a smile on my face. This is the one time where I'd really like to have someone to give me a little nudge. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Let them hoes fight, let them run out. Pull the weave out. You know, Ludacris, Kanye. Pardon, Master? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Master? I guess he's not here. The door wasn't locked. As was the rest of the house, his room was shrouded in darkness. The only light came from the candle in my hand. Master? Are you there, Master? I guess I missed him. It's probably best if I don't stick around for long. He's already got a less than stellar impression of me. I don't want to imagine what'll happen if he thinks I've been snooping around his room. Yeah, I should get out of here. I spun around on my heels, taking a step toward the door, when I caught sight of an object draped in a black sheet. I knew I had to get out of here as quickly as possible, but I was intrigued by that object. Something he kept hidden in a room I was forbidden to enter. Maybe it was a clue to discovering Michelle's secrets. I reached my hand down toward the object, knowing good and well I shouldn't. Was it because I wanted to learn more about him? Was it because I wanted to tear down the veil he hid behind? Or was it the whispers of the witch? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be, folks? Whoa. What do we have here? I pulled off the sheet, revealing a framed painting of what appeared to be a noble woman with porcelain white skin. What stood out about her, though, was that the woman's hair was as pale as her skin. And then... What? I noticed something else. Wide gashes ravaged the canvas, damaging her face beyond repair. What the... I imagined it had once been a painting of a beautiful woman, but there was hardly a trace of that left. The only feeling it inspired anymore was a deep chill. This damage was not accidental. It was deliberate, angry, and the contempt emanating from within the frame was stifling. Thick, suffocating blackness seeped into me. Why would anyone... She was surely a most beautiful woman, angelic even. A storm of questions assaulted me. Who was she? Why had her face been carved up? Why had the painting been covered? What had happened? Who could have... There's only one person who could have done this. Michelle, why on earth? You saw it, didn't you? You saw the painting, didn't you? You entered my room without permission, and you saw the painting, didn't you? Angelic, you say? There's nothing angelic about that damned woman. I scrambled to make some excuse, but nothing would come out of my mouth. All I could do was tremble. Holy shit. Why did you enter my chambers? What were you looking for? Answer me. My mouth wouldn't move properly. I couldn't make my voice come out. It was like I wasn't even in my own body anymore. The wisps of air that were drawn into my lungs were expelled as hoarse gasps. My breaths were shallow and rapid. I was inhaling, but I wasn't getting any air. I was terrified. Terrified. Of his eyes, of his voice, of his feelings, of the knife he was holding up to me, of the terrible past I was chained to. The man's voice, the man's very flesh, terrified me. What were you trying to find, and what were you planning to do with it? Answer me. Another thing you refuse to tell me, then? No, I'm trying. Nothing's coming out of my mouth, though. Everything's so bright, and I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe. That's fine, though. You don't have to tell me. I have a pretty good idea. An idea? What do you mean? Money is what brought you to the Bollinger estate, and it's what brought you to me, too. There are countless people who would love to see that house fall, and a noble family fears nothing more than disrepute. You were, I presume, approached by someone scheming the Bollingers' downfall? No. And as it just so happens, the Bollingers have a very unfortunate secret, one they are quite desperate to keep under wraps. Me. Someone suspected I might still be alive, and so they sent you to dig up information about me. My very existence threatens to tear down that house, the cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family. Michelle, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive. Hey, Snow. You sweet-talked your way into that house, and into information about me and my present situation, and you meant to trade that information for money. I bet whoever it was put quite a handsome price on it, too. Or maybe the one plotting to ruin the Bollinger family is you. No, that's not true. Then enlighten me. Please. Hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring you harm in any way. Then tell me, if that's not the reason you wormed your way into the Bollinger estate, and that's not what you're doing here, then tell me what was. Tell me why you came to this mansion. You want me to tell you about that? No way. That's asking way too much. Tell me. I swear I haven't done anything to wrong you. I wanted to make our life together a little more comfortable, to bring some warmth to this frigid relationship we have. That's the only reason I wanted to find out more about you. I assume I'm right then, Giselle. I must tell him he's wrong. I must tell him I mean him no harm. But I can't say anything. A merchant's daughter became an Abigail at a noble house. Could you come up with a more obvious lie? Your father's the one who... Wait, how does he know that I'm from a merchant family? You look perplexed. I may be imprisoned in this house, not free to move as I please, but I have my ways. I know everything. Everything? Then he knows about that, too. Oh, yes, I do know. Please, don't. In your quest for money, don't say it. You slept with my father. Oh! Bow, 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 bow. Uh-oh.
Gaming.
In that moment, Michelle plunged his knife into my heart. Holy fuck! He carved through my chest with those words. Okay, all right. Causing me to completely lose control of myself. In a panicked frenzy, and probably screaming all the way, I knocked the man aside and ran and ran and ran. I could hear a clap of thunder in the distance. Oh, how I wished a bolt of lightning would come crashing down upon me. Maybe if God burned my tainted flesh with a divine thunderbolt, it would get rid of some of the filth. But the jagged streaks of light cascading across the dark clouds did not strike me, only creating restless grumbles in the sky. Why? I knew that if I fled the mansion, I would likely be causing trouble for my mom and sister, but I was helpless to stop myself. All I could do was run from all that threatened me with no regard of the consequences. Before long, small droplets of rain began falling, which soon grew heavy enough to penetrate the forest canopy and reach the ground where I stood. The downpour drowned out my tears and my cries. Because I had rushed from the mansion without even putting on a cloak, each cold winter droplet stung bitterly against my flesh. But the bite of the rain was like a warm embrace compared to what I'd been through before. Michelle had spoken the truth. As much as I wanted to deny it, to avert my eyes, reality was forever engraved in this body. No, I don't want to think about it. But I had no say in the matter. Get out of my head. They did know. Great line. Uh-oh. Oh, no. We're recounting it? Oh, dear. Okay, can I tell you something? I remember... I can find... Yeah, Franco, good call. Because I can find the backlogged review when I was adding this game to the list. Let me find it really fast. Somebody was like... One sec, I gotta find this review. Because I'll bet you it happens right here. I have to guess it happens right here. Let me find it. Stand by. Sort by liked. No, not the house in Fart Morgana. Not that one. Sort by likes. It was like a real throwaway review, but it was like, where is it? The game is pretty okay, but there was a naked girl with huge honkers 14 hours in, so that was pretty cool. Was the review? And I've been thinking about that review like nonstop, like worried that this moment is coming up, because this review from Gibdorf that says the game was pretty okay, but there's a naked girl with huge honkers 14 hours in. Here, I'll link the review right here. There are no nipples. You're good. Okay, all right. All right. There's the review. Did that make the game better or worse for them? I'm pausing my schoolwork because my huge honkies alarm just went off. John, buckle up. John, buckle up. The honkies alarm. Honkies was blocked by Twitch. Yeah. Probably because it's offensive against white people. There we go. Thank you, What Game Before. Perfect timing. Hope you're doing well. Here we go. Get your honks ready. Come over here, Giselle. Okay, may I ask why you asked me here so late at night, Master? Oh, I just wanted to have a little chat. Care for some wine? Come closer and I'll pour you a glass. I had this wine imported from up north. They use very hard water, and like it rather tart, so it leaves quite the lasting impression on your tongue. And yet it goes down so easily, you just can't seem to stop. What do you say? Have a sip. Or does your expertise as a trader allow you to evaluate a wine's quality without tasting it? No, but, Please, Giselle, don't trample all over my good graces. Very well then, I'll have a sip, Master, but no more. Have you ever considered growing out your hair? Having long hair made it difficult to do my job. You're not a merchant anymore, though. You deserve to look like the woman you truly are. I have no doubt longer hair would accentuate your natural beauty. It's a gorgeous shade of black, so deep a man could get lost in it for years. Years! Try hundreds of years in an old abandoned mansion. It would contrast the color of your skin fabulously. Highlight your eyes, your cheekbones, your nape, your shoulders, and your chest. Oh, I should get going. Oh, but we're not done talking yet. I would not want a lack of sleep to interfere with my ability to work tomorrow. Thank you very much for the wine. It was delicious. No need to be so cold-hearted now. All right, maybe the honks are in bad taste. Maybe the honks are in poor taste. Maybe, hey, hold it on the honks for a second. We have to understand the context. Sit, please hold on the honks. Yeah, we're getting warped. We're getting warped audio. From the moment I first laid eyes on you. Master, that's enough fooling around for one night. Now, don't be afraid. I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. I simply want to express my love. Let go of me. I only came here to work, nothing more. The first time I saw you, I thought it would be a tragic waste to leave you to wither away working at some little street-side shop. Stop. You can't tell me you didn't know a merchant girl had no place in a house like this, even as a servant. There's only one reason you would be allowed here. No, I swear it never even crossed my mind. It would seem you're even more innocent than you look. But you've figured it all out by now, haven't you? No, let go of me. Stop this. Keep your voice down. Do not shout, Giselle. If anyone were to find out about this, you would be the one shouldering the consequences, not me. But you're a maid, and I'm the master of the house. Whose word do you think holds more weight? Don't worry, I wouldn't do anything to hurt you. I promise your family will be exceptionally well taken care of. Your mother will have the comfortable life you wanted for her. But you know what will happen if you raise a fuss and make a fool of yourself. Not only will your family not get any of our money, and not only will your sister not get to marry, you'll all spend the rest of your lives on the streets. How could you be so cruel? This is blackmail. Blackmail? For a merchant's daughter? You don't know much about trade, do you? Then let me give you a little lesson about market value. The goods you're after, Giselle, are not cheap. Understand? Now, let me see that beautiful body of yours. He was an older man, so I hadn't expected him to be very strong, but I couldn't break free of his grip, and I found myself entirely at his mercy. Beneath the gaudy outfits lay a hungry beast, and I was seeing the creature's true colors for the first time that day. The aging man ran his disgusting, slobbery tongue across my exposed skin. Exclamation point advisory, just like send this with every single panel as things continue. Everything he placed his hands upon withered away, Every piece of flesh he pressed his lips up against putrefied, rotted, decayed, rankled. Never heard that word before. I trembled in revulsion, at which the man laughed, seemingly interpreting it as something else. I wondered what kind of place hell was. If hell's wardens only flayed and carved their prisoners, I would have preferred that instead. I would have rather been sliced into tiny little chunks and cast into the hellfire. I would have chosen eternal torment over being touched by this man another second. But I didn't get to choose my hell. Eventually, the man forced open the gates I had been holding fast and spread his festering death inside me. Honestly, it makes that backlog review kind of fucked up. In retrospect, I cannot co-sign Gibdorf with the Slippy from Star Fox avatar. Listen to me, Giselle. Gibdorf was like, hey, game's alright, naked girl, huge honkers, 14 hours in, that was pretty cool. This guy's just... Oh, to be fair, that review's referring to a different moment. Okay, Franco. Alright, fair. Thank you, I appreciate it. I appreciate that there's still a chance for the honk emotes to come. That might be in better taste. It is in both of our interests to keep this between the two of us. If you can do that, I'll continue to do good by you and your family. Oh, don't look at me like that, please. I'm thrilled to have you here in this house, Giselle. She has long lost her mind, after all. It's torture just being in the same room. And my sons, they hardly ever come home. But you, Giselle, you give color to my dull life. You make it exciting once again. Now, go on back to your room. I'll be waiting here at the same time next week. I fired off my honks willy-nilly after returning to my desk. Shameful honks. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Nobody else can see it. Only I can see in the activity feed right next to my head are 5 honks in a row in a 1-minute window. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It's storytelling. We didn't know how this was gonna unfold. I couldn't escape from that man's grasp, not when he used my family against me. Some weeks I would just not go to his chambers, my one feeble mean of resistance. But when I did that, he would send another Abigail to come find me the next day. I couldn't ignore his summons when he got other people involved. And then when the two of us were alone, the mask would come off, and he would discipline me for not showing up before taking care of his usual business. On good days, he would leave bruises in inconspicuous places, my abdomen, my inner thighs, but he went as far as carving a word into my skin with a knife. Harlot. That was why I was afraid of knives. That was why I was afraid of men shouting. I wasn't even sure what to regret anymore. I was in far too deep. There was no turning back the clock. I even considered taking my own life on more than one occasion, but every time the thought crossed my mind, happy memories came with it. Back when it was just the 3 of us girls in the shop. Life may have not been easy, but it was never dull either. I didn't want to end my life at its lowest point. I wanted, if just temporarily, to go back to the way things were back then. That objective was the only thing that allowed me to keep going. When I was in his presence, I tried to convince myself I was merely an object. I had no emotions, and he couldn't hurt me. I was merely a vessel, a construct of flesh and bones. His hands couldn't reach my heart, for it was not connected to my body. Doing that made it a little easier to bear, but the reality was it was impossible to completely sever my heart from my body. You're Giselle, aren't you? One day, the mistress of the estate stopped me in the halls. She had supposedly once been quite beautiful, but now she was only haggard and bony. Her skin dry, her eyes sunken, her hair faded and stripped of its luster. Her head down, her cracked lips barely moving as she spoke. Age didn't appear to be the only thing working its merciless magic on her either. There seemed to be something eating away at her from the inside, too. Something that could burst at the lightest touch. Yes, I am Giselle. Is there something I can do for you? mistress rarely ever left her chambers. I had been told it had been years since she attended family supper. So what would bring her to come looking for someone like me?
You...
What? I wasn't sure what I wanted to know the answer.
You're having relations with my husband, aren't you? You are, aren't you?
Madam.
You wretched creature. She was telling me the truth. One of my trusty maids caught a glimpse of you through the crack of the door. She saw you with him, you filthy rat.
Yo. Hold. The brainworms are spreading. Hold. Phoenix Zombie. Thank you so much for the raid. Panic Sloth. Hello. Mika. It's Mika, right? Because I've heard it in other people's chats. It's Mika, right? Because I've been saying Mikainox. Like it's a whole thing. Like a one word. Like an NES shoot 'em up title. Mikainox. But it's Mika. Hi, Mika. How are you? Crimson Blades. Hello. Manic. Hello. Welcome in. Hey. I have to warn everybody that just came in on this raid. We are about 18 hours into this visual novel, and we are in the midst of one of the most reprehensible sections of the entire game. We are currently following a maid of an old noble house, and the maid is currently being totally taken advantage of by the master of the house. So, this shit's fucked up. It is, and you are actually one of the few to actually pronounce my full username correctly. So it is Mikainox. YOLO? Hey, Kibu. Absolutely. It's dark. It's dark. Any jokes really like, you know, we can talk about the reprehensibleness, but when it gets into the thick of it, no jokes on the matter. Really dark stuff here. We're trying our best to handle it as delicately as we can. This is one of the most critically acclaimed video games of all time. Most say Mika because it's easier, but it's Mikainox. Oh, yo, let's go. I thought it was. Very cool. Huh. I'm gonna get back to things here now. Yo, Phoenix Zombie, what were you playing? Do we have the other shout out? Retro. So what was the game tonight? What was the move? We just wrapped up R MJ, the Mystery Hospital. PS1 game that was recently translated. B-movie quality, off-the-walls goodness. Listen, Phoenix Zombie, you couldn't describe a game that's more up my alley. RMJ. Mystery Hospital. I am tucking this one away to the side. You said the PlayStation 1, so there's a Saturn version too. I'm assuming the PS1 is the one that was translated. This is like perfectly. You could easily beat it in a few hours. Very cool. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to get back into this here for all the raiders. Yo, Kibu, thank you so much for the follow. This is a visual novel. This is a game where there really isn't too much like actual input from me by the controller, but what it does have is hours and hours and hours of text that I am reading out loud. So stay tuned. I got my tea here. Enjoy the voices. And yeah, we're in a very dark spot. We're in a dark spot. So bear with us for a second. Hopefully the things lighten up in a little bit here.
You seduced my husband. Oh, you devil! You conniving witch! You don't get it, do you? You don't realize how grievous your sin is, do you? Anyone restrain this girl! She's a demon! A devil! Tie her up and hand her over to the clergy! No, that won't be enough. A witch! You have to burn her bones, scatter the ashes, or she'll just come back to life. Yes, execute her! Kill this woman! Burn the witch! Seize the piece she's stolen from me. Cursed. It's cursed. This house is cursed. Not only has it taken away my daughter, now it's trying to take away my husband. Oh, God, please shine thy cleansing light upon this house. I knew it would be a waste of breath trying to talk to her. She was not of sound mind. There was madness in her eyes. I didn't even have to make a fuss about it. It happened all on its own. If there was no way around it, then I should have just done it myself after the first time.
Did you guys pick up on the other character development through that? Between that line right there and the guy at the cabin, we learned something pretty important.
I didn't have the energy to argue with her or to cry or to shout. Before long, a crowd began to form around me and the sobbing mistress, and in it stood him. I assumed he would just stand back and watch, but much to my surprise, he stepped in, with an embarrassed look on his face, to try and settle his wife down and convince her not to have me executed.
Hey, one raid break to say, hey, next week's schedule, I am starting Sweet Home. Phoenix Zombie and Phoenix Community. I know you guys love, I mean, if you're talking about a fan-translated horror game, talk about one of the most influential of all time. We will be starting it on Wednesday. This is the foundational blueprint of Resident Evil. Resident Evil, the entire franchise, started in its infancy as a remake of Sweet Home, and then they realized they didn't have the rights for it and turned it into its own thing, and that own thing became Resident Evil. So, if you're here from the raid, if you want to check back in, this Wednesday is a great place to start because we're starting a brand new game, all as a group. Sweet Home, the OG, baby. From the jump, 1989. Now back to it. That's the end of my advertising block.
Maybe he did have a heart after all. Or maybe he just wanted to save face. Regardless, instead of being burned at the stake, it was decided that I would be sent away to some remote forest. One of the previous Bollinger family heads had purchased a mansion there long ago, but it had been abandoned because of the stories people told about it. They said a cursed witch dwelled in the house. She returned to life after being executed and now skulked about in the darkness. It was the perfect place to banish a sinner. And so, accused of adultery, I was in a carriage on my way out of the capital the next day. I hope my mom and sister are all right. The two of them will believe in me, even if no one else does. The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. Just a silent coachman and his single, sullied passenger. Looking out through the window, I could see the city walls slowly fading into the distance behind us. I doubted I would ever set foot in this land again, ever cross the Grand Pont again. It was a saddening reality, but at the same time, I felt a surge of relief. I had finally escaped from that house. I had finally escaped from that man. This sense of freedom slightly lessened the weight of everything else I was feeling. A good while after we left the capital, the coachman handed me a letter. On the sheet of parchment was a rather startling revelation. There was someone else already living at the house where I was to reside. The Bollingers' youngest child. But the letter didn't say why he had been sent out to the cursed mansion, only that he was there. Beyond that, the letter made only a single request. That I look after him and not ask any questions. So I'm not just being sent off to the middle of nowhere. I still have work to do. If I look after whoever's at the mansion, then they'll do the same for my family. I don't have much to say in the matter either way, I suppose. The carriage rattled and shook as it traversed the stony path, and bouncing around inside it, I resolved to take back my life. The peace I had once known, the cheerfulness I had lost. And to do so, I would forget. Lock away my memories. Bury every terrible thing that had happened to me. Cast aside those memories and find my smile once more. I have no idea what I'm going to find there, but they couldn't possibly do anything worse to me. I'll greet them with a smile and do my best to build up a decent relationship with them. I figured, since the both of us had been banished to the same cursed mansion, there would probably be other things we had in common.
And so, I would forget it all and get my life back. Get my smile back. Cool. And that was everything that led up to me arriving at the mansion. All the wounds I never wanted to open again. I didn't want to think about that. I've been trying so hard to forget about it. I wanted to forget all about it. So why? Why did you have to make me remember? All I did was believe that we could make things work. How can you? God, I can't take it anymore. Once the memories had broken free, they all flooded back with perfect clarity. Exactly how he ran his hands across me, exactly where he hit me, where he cut me, like I was going through it again this very moment. Ugh. The rain was cooling me down on the outside, but so much nauseating heat had built up in my gut. I vomited all over the ground. I threw up and I threw up and I threw up until there was nothing left but bile. And when I had nothing left to expel, all right, that might have been in poor taste. The strength evacuated from my knees and I collapsed. I had to lighten it somehow. I didn't know if everything was blurry because of the rain or because my eyes had decided they were done looking at anything. I always imagine you know what it's from, Franco? I was just about to say, it's Chunk from The Goonies. When he talks about going to the movie theater and acting like he was barfing over the railing, over the balcony. When he's tied up with Sloth. That's where that's where it comes from. It's him retelling that story of his like deep shame of acting like he threw up over the balcony at the movie theater. Man, The Goonies is such a good movie. I can't tell how I feel about it, so mission succeeded. There we go. I have a 4K Blu-ray of The Goonies that I haven't watched yet. The whole world twisted before me. Michelle's no different. My attempts to get close to him to always keep a smile on. It was all a waste. The look in his eyes was terrifying, like he didn't believe in anything at all. So he probably wouldn't have believed me if I had told him the truth. If he's convinced I have an ulterior motive, there's probably no changing his mind. Such a cold rain. If I lie down here and go to sleep, I wonder if all the warmth will eventually drain from my body, and then I'll decompose and become part of the earth. You know? That might actually be nice. I'd like that. I always thought I didn't want to die, that I wanted to go back to how the way things were, but who cares anymore? I did my best after all, and that still got me nowhere. Cheerful Giselle, all just a farce. And when I'm dead, all my worry for my mom and sister will fade with me. Oh, God. I doubt you have a place for me on high, and I am, after all, an unclean woman. And I've given up on living altogether, but even if I can't get into heaven, it's okay. I want release. The rain pitter-pattered down through the leaves overhead, chilling my skin. The cold spread through my flesh and into my bones, my heart and lungs and stomach freezing me like a block of ice. My consciousness drifted away from me, and the world slipped through my fingers. More than fear, I felt relief. Utter black. And that, I was sure, was the end of me. It's the second time today, Earth Nuggets. That's the second time today that somebody has been like, how are you able to like pull a reference out of that? I forget what the first one was. It was in a Discord conversation I was having earlier about somebody talking about lockers. Let me find the... Somebody said, I used my locker to do experiments with leaving a sandwich in there for 8 months. And I immediately, like without any pause, sent a TikTok of a kid that had been placing one cafeteria burrito in a locker every single day for 122 days. And somebody immediately responded and was like, how the fuck do you always have a video for everything? Like, I'm not complaining, I'm laughing my ass off. And I was like, I don't know, it's just how my brain works, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, that's just how I connect things. I am even now putting her through a... Oh, okay, this is Michelle. I am even now putting her through a harrowing experience. Digging up the memories she locked away, the past she wanted to pretend never happened, and laying it all out before her once more. The really deep ones, Earth Nuggets, are quotes from Kung Pao Enter the Fist, where I will just say a line from that movie without, like, it's totally subconscious. I don't know if Minky Moo's here right now, she's hanging out with her mom, but I will drop, like, Kung Pao lines, like, not even meaning to. Like, just in a sentence. Like, rub it all in my hair. Like, just stupid shit that doesn't even have contextual... I mean, it always has contextual meaning for the conversation at the time, but it would be like, you know, something to do with hair or something like that. It's not like I'm just, like, dropping quotes. Like Stranger Things style, or saying Goosebumps quotes that don't have relevance. It's always like one or two jumps to something that I have a memory of. Like making vomit sounds and going like, oh, that's probably pulled from the Goonies. But I must get her back to who she once was, even if it means forcing her to endure this. She must remember everything, because I need to know. Why did she become the maid? And what secrets does this house hold? You're Michelle. Yes, my name is Michelle. I'm not the white-haired girl. The person you were searching for was the man who once hurt you deeply. Me. Why? What was her why referring to? Why I hurt her? Or why I'm here? Or perhaps, why I didn't show up until now? Not having an answer for her, I clench her cold hands in mine. I wonder, were her hands this cold that night too? There's still more we need to see though, and it's still too soon for me to apologize. When she's gotten everything back, only then can I... Once she's reclaimed herself, that is when I must tell her. Now, let us return to our past. Our story has only just begun. No matter what we thought or what we desired, no matter what we lost or how much pain we suffered, we must not shut this door. Goaty has a broken tape player in his throat that plays clips. Yeah, but not really, because I'm not the most referential, like, I'm not like... I don't know how to explain it. I'm not dropping, like, it's just for me. It's just for me. It's just like, you didn't need to know that in my head that's a Goonies thing. Like you guys said, like, you wouldn't have even known that that was a reference. It's just things that are, like, very, very, very small. No, I know. I'm just trying to put it out in my head, because I've never spoken this stuff out loud necessarily. Because I don't think that I'm necessarily like a referential person. It could be. It's just it's in my own way. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I'm giving myself too much credit, and I'm just a freak. Just a fucking freak. Perfect darkness embraces us once more. Yeah, I'm literally fucking Peter Griffin. What's up, Merc? How are you? Hope I'm doing well. I was doing well until I one message above yours. How are you? Until I got told by my chat that I'm literally Peter Griffin. I was doing all right. I was doing all right a minute ago. Woke up from a little... You woke up from a nap. Very, very nice. You would be offended too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This reminds me of the time that I... Yeah. I can't do a Peter voice. See, I can't even do a... Who here has the best Peter Griffin impression? If we had to think about everybody in this chat right now, who's got Peter Griffin on lock? It's not Franco, I'll tell you that much. It's Jesse and they're not here. I haven't heard Jesse's Peter. I'm sure it's good. Franco, I can't see you doing a Peter Griffin. I know your voice too well, and I know you don't have a Peter. I know you don't have a Peter in you. Snow, Snow, I knew you had a really shitty one. Like, okay, understandable, I was curious. Yeah. It's not Nancy for sure. They're like, let me try an Irish accent, and it's just Peter Griffin somehow. That's classic. That's classic. But I shall not let go of her hand. Oh, I love this flipping. Before it was the maid, don't let go of my hand. And now it's, I'm not letting go of her hand. I do not want to let her slip away from me. It's like a good impression of someone doing, yeah, it's like one layer removed. It's like AI art. You're doing an impression of somebody's impression of Peter Griffin. I do not want to lose her. I can only do the Hey Peter of Joe. The rest falls apart. Oh, here we go. Here we go. She's awake. She's awake. This has got to be the man in the barn, in the shed. Stay with me. Are you all right? Oh, thank goodness you're awake. How's your head? Can you see me? What? You had me scared silly there. I thought I might have lost you for good. I'm really glad you're alive. Where am I? And who is this man? What was I doing? Feeling up for any food? I can whip us up some porridge for you really quick. Oh, I was in the forest. It was raining. Before that, I was at the mansion. Oh, I feel sick. Like there's something in my stomach. No, thank you. I don't want anything. You really should have something. You need to keep up your energy. Unless you want to conk out again in an hour. Sounds good to me. I'd rather never wake up at all. You're not in the highest of spirits either, it seems. All the more reason to get something warm in you. Please, have something. I've got some milk on the fire. I bet you can handle a cup of that. You start losing all hope once the cold gets that deep in you, reaches down to your core. Take me at my word, please. Just one sip. You'll feel like a whole new gal. A heart-wrenchingly pleasant aroma wafted up with the steam from within the wooden cup. Succumbing to the sweet smell, I lifted the cup to my lips for just one sip, and the warmth that spread through me brought tears to my eyes. Perhaps there really was a kindness in the world. A ripple spread across the surface of the milk. Hey, by the way. Hey, Merc. Welcome in. Welcome in. I hope you enjoyed your nap. I hope your nap was good. Sorry I got a little wrapped up with Peter Griffin. This piano song's going crazy. I almost got distracted by how good this song is. I'm glad. Both Minky Moo, my girlfriend, and I are both evening nappers. And I don't think it's necessarily a good habit, but there's nothing that hits harder than like a 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. nap. Sometimes you just need it. Maybe 2 hours is pushing it. Maybe it's closer to like 1 hour. But yeah, it goes crazy sometimes. So I'm glad you had a good one. And welcome into the stream. I can get headaches if I don't nap. After which he said with a smile, "You should take it easy for the day." I had lost the willpower to think about anything. I didn't care what had happened to me or why I was here, who he was, or even where this was. Man, this goes so hard. I had spent the whole day in bed just watching the sun slowly slide across the wooden floor. It felt like I was somewhere far, far away. At times, I felt like a lost child, and at times like a sickly old woman on her deathbed. Watching the sun travel gave me a renewed awareness of the passage of time, and the fact that each moment it went by was another moment I was alive. I realized then that it had been a while since I had gotten more than a brief glimpse at any sunlight. It almost surprised me how colorful the world seemed beneath the sun's light, something I didn't get much of in the dark mansion. Only after losing something do you realize how much you need it. Warm milk, the light shining through the window, and a bed that smelled like springtime. With those three things, my heart slowly began to defrost, and I started to regain the willpower to stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you for everything. You sure you're in any shape to be on your feet? Yes, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. You looked pretty beat up to me. But you look a lot better now. And you're talking a lot more clearly than before. You've been very generous, despite having never met me before, and for that you have my deepest gratitude. Without your help, I would no longer be in this world. I don't deserve your thanks. You're alive now because God's guidance made it so. God. I came across you early this morning as I was heading into the forest to hunt. Imagine my surprise seeing a young lady like you on the ground in my path. What were you doing in the forest? You don't have to tell me if you'd rather not. Everyone's got their own share of personal problems. You're not going to demand I talk? Oh, I've got no reason to force you to do anything. You looked like you'd been to hell and back. What? I could tell just by looking at you. Now then, do you have somewhere you can go? Somewhere to go? Of course I don't. I can't go back to the capital or the mansion. If not, why don't you stay here? Here? Sure, it's a small village. We're self-sufficient, and we all help each other out. No tax-hungry lords know we built the place up either, so we keep everything we make. We're pretty remote as a result, and the harvest isn't fantastic, but I'm sure you'll find it comfortable here. The rest of the villagers will be glad to have you. What do you say? Sorry, Mom. What I'm about to do might make the rest of the family's lives more difficult, but I don't want to have to feel any more pain. If I really wouldn't be inconveniencing you, if it's really okay, then yes. I would like to stay here. Well, that's great to hear. I was loath to send you back out there in your current condition. I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? The name's Amade. Just one lowly villager of many. I'm Giselle. Oh, Giselle, that's a beautiful name. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a vacant house. Clean it up, and you can call it home. I couldn't possibly ask for that. I doubt others would like it if I just took a house for myself. That shouldn't be an issue. I'm the village's representative, more or less. Representative? Like the chief? Only a name, though. As I mentioned, we're not on any lord's map, so I don't really have much representing to do. The only reason I ended up in charge is because I'm a bit more educated than anyone else. It was a long time ago, but I understudied with a priest. Because of that, I'm familiar with the Bible's teachings. So rather than a chief, the people of the village look at me more like a priest. Wouldn't be much fun if the church found out about that. They're liable to think I'm acting unordained. Then, you believe in God? Oh, that's quite the question. Of course, God exists. He's always watching over us. That's why you survived, because He protected you. I understand that your faith can waver when you're going through times of tribulation, but those are times when it's most important to keep sight of who you are. Right. Now, you get some rest. Tomorrow I'll show you around the village.
Thank you. I truly mean it. I really sincerely appreciate everything.
Don't mention it, Giselle. This is your village now, too, so you don't need to act like a stranger anymore.
Okay. So he's Amade. He seems like a nice man. Maybe here I can live in peace. It'll be all right, I'm sure. Yeah. I wasn't silly enough to believe my life would be perfect, but I had found a tiny fragment of my lost hope. While I had once been ready to give up on absolutely everything, I was starting to feel like I might be able to smile again, eventually. Like I might be able to get back on my feet. And in order to do that, I had to cast aside my past once more, forget everything that happened at the Bollinger estate and everything that had happened at that mansion. Forget about Michelle. There was one curiosity, though, that I couldn't shake.
Nice try, game.
Something he had said before I left.
My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bollinger family. Michelle, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive.
What had he meant by that? Why would people think he was dead? No, I don't care about Michelle one bit. Forget it. Forget everything.
I'm going to take a quick break. This tea has gone completely cold. I'm going to get one more cup of tea, and I will be right back. Right after that, Giselle has been midsummered. She has been inducted into a new family. Have I ever told you guys that I had like a I wouldn't say like I wanted it. I didn't want it. But I had, and I still kind of do, like a romanticism with cults and communes. It just seems nice to have that kind of structure in your life day over day. It stems from the same place as like boarding school. Boarding schools are just cults for kids. Think about it. Think about that while I'm on my break. Think about that while I'm on my break. Just something where you don't have to worry about anything. Other people have it figured out for you, and you just live your day. You just show up for meals, and then just, wake up and the routine repeats itself. Going to a diner every morning at the same diner and getting the same breakfast every day is like being a member of that diner's cult. Right, Heaven's Gate had cool sneakers. Exactly. I'll be right back. Stand by. I'm gonna kick it over to the Be Right Back screen and spits out Punch and run a minute and a half of ads if you're not currently subbed, just so that we remove pre-rolls here for the next half hour. Hi, everybody. There was something I wanted to say when I got back here, and now I forget what it was. I was in the kitchen. I opened up the mobile app on my phone. That's when I sent those messages. Weed nuns? And I daydream about joining them? That sounds nice. Something about a cult? No, there's really not too much to expound upon with the cult thing. It's just one of those things that's like really good until it's really bad. Most cults are like kind of chill until they're just not at all. But it's like an insidious, slow build. I just need like just need structure in a way that's not me, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's mostly kind of bad the whole time, but everyone's convinced it's fine. Yo, Tay, thanks for gifting a sub to Merc.
GameSyn Broadcast Tay gifted a tier 1 sub to Roaming Merc. They have given 4 gift subs in the channel.
I realized I'm pointing at my activity feed, and you guys can't see this. I'm going like this, like, hey, look, it's at the top of the activity feed, but it's just something only I can see because it's like on my OBS. Also, I've thought about the word cult. We use it in a negative connotation, but religions are cults, right? Yeah, more or less, I suppose. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tay. And welcome in, Roman Merc. Have fun with the emotes. Yeah, you get the OG JC smile. The new trend, sweep and twitch. Everybody's got one. Soon enough, everybody's going to have their own version of the JC smile, but that will always be the first. Don't let anybody forget that. In years, when every single streamer, when Pepe's out, good riddance. When Pepe's out, good riddance, and JC smile is in, you'll know that JC smile was the first. Gene won't lend you the $20 million for theirs? That's so messed up. Once Twitch has a mandatory JC emote as part of their affiliate plan. Exactly. Exactly. You'll know. You'll know where it all began. It was all right here. Man, I do not like Pepe. The way that little thing works. The way that little thing looks. You know, no disrespect to the people that use Pepe's. It's not happening here, I'll tell you what. The frog. The green frog. You're thinking of Peppa Pig, yeah. Peppa Pig, shout out, I guess. I think Peppa Pig is a little too dragged down by adult, like, memes at this point. Like, weird Disney adults. That, like, pop heads. That are like, yeah, Peppa Pig slay. Peppa Pig outsold. Ha ha ha. Look, Lady Gaga tweeted about Peppa Pig. But maybe that's just because I follow pop music, I guess. Yeah, something about Pepe, man. Peppa Pig outsold, haha. John Coffey Jr. debut mixtape went double cardboard. All right, let's get back to this. I got tea on hand. It's a different tea bag. This is the licorice root and slippery elm. I had lemon echinacea to start the stream. We're switching things up. Kind of changing it. We got another hour to get some more story done. Maybe we'll find out what happens with this cult. So, addressing the kind of hinted at elephant in the room. Michelle's trans, right? Michelle, the youngest son of the Bollinger family. That was, you know, his portrait in the room, and that's why his family exiled him like this. And when the mom said, first they took my daughter, and now, you know, you with my husband or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of spelling it all out. When the guy was like, is it true that you don't have a... And Michelle was like, that's enough. That's just knock it off. Yeah. Cool. I wonder how all that continues. I gotta tell you, I wasn't expecting a very, very, very prominent trans character in this way. That's cool. The house was, as it had always been, wrapped in a thick silence. Giselle's shadow, which had been lurking in the halls for about a month, was nowhere to be found. She hadn't come back since running off that day. My secret was still safe. Her efforts had in the end all been for naught. Back to the way things were. But despite my mind telling me that it was for the best, I felt a kind of guilt seething in the back of my chest, and any attempts to figure out why only made me feel worse. Right, transphobia has been in the advisory. That's true. It had to come up eventually. I didn't know it was going to be like the focal character, the protagonist, effectively, right? I mean, this is who we are. The protagonist of the game. But the look on her face then.
Please, hear me out. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring you harm in any way.
It's huge. Was that really her just putting on an act because I revealed her scheming? She was screaming, though, and she looked genuinely terrified when she knocked my hand away. I'm not falling for anything. I feel like I know that frenzied panic. Something doesn't add up. Be quiet. Silence, please. And the piano stops. My head was pounding beyond belief. I couldn't stand anything. This world, the creature I was, the witches whispering. The archangel looking down upon me seemed to be cackling from somewhere far out of reach. So for whatever it was worth to escape from his gaze, I once again drew the drapes over the stained glass window. Oh, here we go. Look at this.
Whoa, it's someone new. Hey, where you from? You gonna be here long? Are ya?
We hardly ever get visitors here, so they're downright awestruck by you. You'll be getting a lot of attention for a little, but please, don't let it get to you.
Oh, no, that's just fine. I'll do my best to get along with everyone.
You've got a spark in you that wasn't here yesterday. Anything in particular that cheered you up?
In particular, once I decided I was going to stay here, I just sort of started feeling better about things. And I figured I couldn't stay gloomy forever.
Well, I see. Well, glad to hear it.
And it's all thanks to you, Amadei.
Yeah, keep thanking me like that and my cheeks might get stuck red. Yo! Abby and Raiders, one sec. Let me take this. I'm moving a tea bag out from the actual cup and getting my tea ready. Abby, what's up? Playing multiverses. Finally managed it. Hey, welcome in. Welcome in, Raiders. Abby, thank you so much for the raid. How was multiverses going? I saw the zombie Wonder Woman skin, and some of those Halloween themed season skins look really great. I don't know how the player base is doing in multiverses after its stratospheric start, but it's a cool game. Good fun game. My first platform fighter. Whoa. So it's been a bit of a learning curve for me. Very nice. Well, hey, thank you so much. We are in the middle of The House in Fata Morgana, which is a visual novel. As you can see below, this is episode 8. Meaning that at about 3 hours a night, we are around 20 hours into this thing now. We are just, I think, a little over 20 hours. It's dense. There's a lot going on. It's a hard one to really break down, but I think if you hang out, if you sit back, cozy up, get yourself a cup of tea like I am, you'll catch on relatively quick. At the root of it all, it's a love story. It's just, framed with a lot of really reprehensible, twisted situations. But hey, I'm GoatedQuest. My channel is all about first full playthroughs, of really any game under the sun to give you a brief understanding of where the stream's at. This past week, we started Alien Isolation, which is incredible, by the way. On Wednesday, we played and beat in one night my first playthrough of Castlevania on the NES, which was incredible, by the way, and are continuing the house in Fata Morgana tonight. Next week, because we beat Castlevania, we're starting Sweet Home. Sweet Home is a Japanese exclusive horror RPG on the Famicom, so Japanese NES, that is actually the foundational blueprint for Resident Evil. So if you're a big fan of the Resident Evil franchise, if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of old RPGs, it's a really, really interesting game, just steeped in influence and history, and I'd love to have you join in and be a part of it. So thank you so much for the raid. Any raiders as well, welcome in, make yourself cozy. Abby, if you have to go wind down your night, I completely understand. And I'm going to keep going here with the house in Fata Morgana. In any event, I said I'd show you around yesterday, so how about we do that? Lead the way. That said, we're a modest little village of about 100. Everyone knows everyone. For that size, it looks pretty big to me. Amade taking the lead, we walked through the village, passing by crop fields and milk cows, presumably shared among the villagers. Houses were scattered across an area that seemed far too large for only 100 people. Actually, getting a better look at them, the buildings were dilapidated, looking more like ruins than residences. We got raided by the cat just before the end of the stream, so until he's had enough, I'm stuck here. Hey, cool. Well, I'm happy to have you. Once upon a time, this was a city, rather than a village. I love that emote, by the way. That's a great one. How many cats you have? You have DK and Goma? Gamma? These are cute. Just the one. Oh, okay, so these are... Oh no, Abi DKT, right. I'm looking at Abi DK. I'm thinking like, I just know you as Abi. And I'm going like, oh, okay. They're all him. Sweetheart. What a sweetheart. What a sweetheart. We got two cats here, Percy and Bailey. Oh no, we were drifters, fortunate enough to come across some decent looking land, so we stuck around. Whoa. Listen, that's a fucking greatest hits collection. How do you know what it was like before then? Well, there were a few stone tablets left behind, and based on what we were able to extract from their texts, this area used to be a large city with a booming economy rivaling that of the capital. There weren't hundreds, but thousands of people bustling about. Merchants from afar came in droves. It was much like how the capital is now. Actually, this area was more open to foreigners. People of all different races, speaking as many different languages. It was evidently quite the sight and sound. I had no idea there was a city here. Oh, that's what happens when a place is wiped from history. I couldn't tell you how reliable the tablets are, but if you take them at their word, this city lost everything in just a single week. What? People, crops, livestock, all dead. Maybe it was a natural disaster, a famine, a plague, I can't say for sure. This is what the tablets said, though. We've been cursed by the witch. Cursed by the witch? Hey, look over there. You see that river? There used to be a magnificent bridge crossing it, but there's hardly anything left of it. If you continue along the path beyond the fallen bridge, there's a forest. That's where I found you. The deeper parts of the forest are so dense you can't see anything but tree trunks and leaves. It's an eerie place, wrapped in a cloud of darkness. If you make it through that, there's a mansion, which is said to be cursed. The witch, who supposedly destroyed this city, lives in the house deep within the forest. She's been there for years and years and years, and she casts her curse on anyone who goes near it. The city was so large that the mansion was actually in its borders. My guess is the bridge was built to mark the road leading to it. Now, as you can see, the bridge is gone, and the houses still standing are practically in ruins. But the mansion alone looks just as it did back then. Yeah, Franco, he's a used car salesman. He's a cult leader. He's got to be like, come on down, join in. He's telling everybody, get in before it's too late. The witch living in the mansion goes by the name Morgana. According to the records, someone by that same name was executed in this area for witchcraft. And even in death, she continues to bear her grudge against mankind. Who knows how much of it's true, though? Truth or fiction, the story's taken root in this region. City's history may be lost, but the legend of the witch continues to be told. People have a tendency to keep stories alive that scare them. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you.
No, I'm fine.
Listen, you're best staying away from the mansion in the forest, at any rate. There's no saying what might happen if curiosity gets the better of you. Better safe than sorry, if you ask me. Aside from that mansion, this is as peaceful a village as you'll find. I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you didn't end up wandering up there.
I know all about the mansion, and who lives there. I was there, after all, with Michelle for a full month. But I don't remember any cursed witch. Just a man with a bone-chilling glare. Maybe the rumors about a witch living there were spread by him, or perhaps even his family. I could see them doing that, but none of that matters to me anymore. I'm never going anywhere near that house again. The witch's curse, Michelle, they're nothing to me. With nowhere else to go, I ended up in this small village. There was no denying that there was very little to speak of here, but I found peace in that nothingness. I couldn't have been more blessed that such a kind man had found me and welcomed me into his village. The village ran entirely on its own crops and livestock. They had no currency, merely bartered among themselves. Coming from a merchant's family, everything felt so new. I had never plowed a large plot of land, milked a cow, or used a loom before. At first, I wasn't sure what to think, being such a departure away from my lifestyle in the capital, but over time, I grew more comfortable with my new life, and the people of the village started thinking of me as one of them. Come on, Giselle, come play with us. We're playing hide and seek today.
Can't, sorry, I'm spinning yarn.
You can do that later. Come on, play with us.
Stop that. Don't pull on my skirt. Oh, all right, you win. When I'm done with this, I'll join you.
And no ditching. We'll be down at the square, okay?
Got it. See you there. The kids have taken quite a liking to you.
Oh, Amade. You think so?
Oh, they've been incredibly lively since you arrived. Children are more sensitive than adults.
Sensitive?
Oh, they're very perceptive of how others are feeling. If you begrudgingly play along, well, they'll pick up on that quickly. You like children, and that's a wonderful thing. There's not a good woman in the world who dislikes children.
Why, thank you. I don't think it's so much I like them as I'm kind of like a big kid myself. I genuinely enjoy hide and seek, but that's not gonna earn me any points.
I like kids too. Watching them, it gives me faith that this world has a bright future.
A bright future? I'd never looked at them that way.
They seem to like you quite a bit too, Amade. Thanks. Though I'd rather give my affection to my own kids.
Oh, you have children?
Oh, heavens no. I thought that was obvious enough. I'm talking about the future.
I see. But knowing you, Amade, I'm sure you'll find someone right for you and have kids of your own in no time.
Giselle, I think you might already have. Oh, okay. It's not that easy, sadly. Even in such a small village, there are no ladies who would take interest in me.
Oh, you don't give yourself enough credit. I'm fully confident you'll find someone soon enough.
You really think so?
Absolutely.
Then perhaps you could be that person.
What? Oh, pardon?
I won't pressure you into it, of course, but I think it would be marvelous to have you in my life in a bigger way.
But I'm... It's a little soon for me to think about settling down like that.
It is pretty sudden, I admit. Take all the time you need to consider it.
All right, I have to go play with the kids now.
You have fun.
I wonder if he really meant it. Amade is a nice fellow, and I'm sure living here would be wonderful, but I can't help feeling something isn't right here.
You're probably just overthinking it. What has ever gone wrong in a small town with no connection to the outside world that subsists only on what the small town provides, with one charismatic leader at the helm, who likens himself to a priest? It's a totally normal village. You know? All the buildings are dilapidated.
Why am I thinking about him now, of all times? That man has no redeemable qualities, not one.
Hey, it worked in Stardew Valley. Hey, you know what? You're not wrong. Animal Crossing is a cult video game. Animal Crossing is a game about being in a cult.
As it turned out, Amade was serious about his proposition, and he brought it up every time we ran into each other. Unable to give him an answer, I found myself constantly apologizing to him. Soon, winter started giving way to spring. On a day when the air still had a brisk winter bite and budding seedlings battled to break through the earth, the seams holding the village together began to come loose.
Uh-oh. Sick. This is like 40 minutes. I hope we can watch the rise and fall of this tiny little village in this time.
That day, the village men were gathered in the square talking. They all had stern looks on their faces. It was clear that something had happened. I obviously couldn't stick my head in, so I waited until they were done and caught Amade. While it was rather awkward, I was still more comfortable asking him for information than anyone else. Well, actually, with a dejected look on his face, he started explaining.
A lord found out about this village.
What?
And he said he's going to place this land under his rule, meaning he'll start collecting taxes. And in addition, he's also demanding we pay 5 years' worth of back taxes for our unauthorized use of the land.
What? That's ridiculous.
Yes, it most certainly is. We obviously don't have the means to pay 5 years' taxes. There's no reason for him to take over this village at all. We're completely isolated from the surrounding area, after all. But if we resist, he could send soldiers. Doesn't matter how absurd his claim to the village is. We have no choice but to comply.
That is terrible. What are we going to do then?
Well, we're going to do as the Lord demands. The 5 years' taxes will have to be paid in installments. Some of the men suggested we abandon the land and find somewhere else, but it would take time to cultivate the land and plant new crops. It's no trivial task. We'll just have to make do with these changes. We'll use more of the land to grow and try to be more efficient. Will you help in the fields?
Oh, of course. This village is my home now, too.
Well, thank you, Giselle. It'll be difficult, but if we all pitch in, I'm sure we can get through this.
I thought the same thing. If we all worked together, we could make it through this rough patch.
But the collection of taxes brought more than just a burden for everyone to share. It brought emotional strain and conflict to the village, too. Your family has more hands to work the fields. I have a sickly child. You expect him to work any harder than he is? I know you're hiding grain in your cellar. You have more than us. Let us keep a little grain. You have more. No, you have more. You both have more than us. When their comfortable lives fell under attack, the villagers' top priority became their own property. The cooperation was only temporary. And before long, everyone became a threat. The negative energy only built on itself, its growth accelerating like a boulder rolling down a hill. And it wasn't long before their sights fell on me, the outsider. Come on, get moving. Ow! Stop that. Why are you doing this? Yeah, I'll stop once you've told us everything. Told you everything what? One morning, a man dragged me from my house and took me to the square. There, the entire rest of the village was gathered, all eyes on me. What? Wait, what's this about? Oh, don't play stupid. We all know it was you. What was me? The thief. Amadei? From the crowd appeared someone I knew quite well. The ever-affable village representative. The man who had saved my life. But in his eyes now, well, I thought you were better than that, was contempt, anger, scorn, so many different shades of negativity. I recognized what I saw in his glare immediately as someone who had been subjected to those looks before. But why? For what reason was he looking at me like that? I couldn't make sense of what was happening, so I just stood there, stupefied. There's been a rise in reports of people having things stolen lately. This village is too small to attract bandits, though. And since the Lord now demands we pay him taxes, even the smallest item lost can have a dramatic impact on a family's living conditions. What you've done is no joke. Wait just a second. I haven't stolen anything. Why do you think I... You have been seen in the act. What? So long as there is testimony against you, your guilt is assured. All right, can I mention something else? Are we gaining pieces of the first 3 doors sewn into the maid's retelling? Because this is Yukimasa on the boat. Her not being able to get words out in fear was Nellie and Mel. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but the thematic parallels of, I mean, this is Yukimasa. This is the boat. This is finding the gold and saying, you know, you're guilty. Who says they saw me? I swear I didn't do anything. They're obviously lying. You're the one who's lying. You've been playing us for fools the whole time. It should make sense she projected in her stories. Exactly. She's like the unreliable narrator of these other stories. And everything was fine until you showed up. We managed to not get found until you showed up. No, that's not my fault. Giselle, apologize to the village and return what you've taken. Amadei, don't you believe me? There were multiple witnesses. Several different people saw you stealing. I've known these people long enough to be family, and I trust them like family too. They are not liars. But no, they're framing me. I didn't steal anything, I swear. Framing you? Now you want to put this on us, woman? Unbelievable. Have you forgotten we welcomed you into our village? Amadei, please believe me. You of all people should believe me. You've been avoiding me of late, haven't you? What? Because you had something to hide, correct? No, What other reason could you have to avoid me? Why? How can he say these things? Why won't he believe me? Now return the things you've stolen.
I can't. I never stole anything. How am I supposed to return something I don't have?
Direct line from door 2. I see, so you've already moved the stolen goods. She said she doesn't have them anymore, folks. How should we deal with this? Rough her up till she talks. Yeah, she's not getting off that easy. Give us back our property.
Why is this happening to me? The harsh new rulership has driven these people mad. I need to get away from this village quick.
Restrain her.
No, get your hands off of me.
Have you forgotten everything we've done for you? All that matters is that you don't have to suffer now, is that it?
I didn't do anything.
Take her to my house. We'll make her tell us everything.
No, stop. You've all gone mad. Please, come to your senses.
Not Amade's house.
With men on all 4 sides of me, I was dragged into Amade's house. He sat coolly in a chair, and they shoved me to my knees before him.
I'll ask you this one more time, Giselle. Where did you put the things you stole?
And I'll keep giving you the same answer. I didn't take anything from anyone. Please believe me.
Do you swear with God as your witness?
I do. I swear with all my heart.
That's true, the door 2 music. That was the door 2 music. Good call, Franco. You don't actually believe her, do you, Amade? She not only sold us out to a lord, she's now threatening to make our lives downright impossible.
Again, that is just a coincidence. Listen to me, Amade.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the woman hath committed 3 sins. She has lied, she has stolen, and she has betrayed her fellow man.
Why are you doing this, Amade? You were such a good man.
I am deeply disappointed in you, Giselle. As much as I don't want to do this, I have to get the truth from you.
Amade. Of course. Why didn't I see it? I'm still just an outsider to them. Why would he believe a stranger's word over the word of the village? His family.
The water.
What? A man set a wooden well bucket on the floor in front of me. In it wasn't clean water from the well, though, but grimy, murky wastewater. I reflexively turned my head from the stench, but a man behind me grabbed me by the hair, and before I had a chance to realize what was happening, the world around me went brown. I struggled with all my might to break free, but my arms were tied behind my back, and I didn't have the strength to overpower the man holding my head down. Reflexively gasping for air, a stream of filthy water poured into my mouth.
Pull her out. We get nothing if she dies. Damn. We'll put her back in and keep at it until she decides she's ready to talk. Don't ruin Frog Barrel for me. I think the damage might be done. How unsightly. And to think I ever considered marrying this woman.
Stop!
We can stop whenever you want, Giselle. You just have to tell us the truth.
Please. Stop! I was given no time to rest. My head shoved into the bucket, then pulled out just long enough for me to steal a breath before going back in, over and over again. Not a person in that room objected to the abuse I was receiving. I had prayed for a good harvest with these people. They had taught me how to use a loom, something I had never touched before. We'd laughed together, lived together, loved together.
They were normal people. Perfectly ordinary, kind, helpful, friendly people. Not at all cruel or inhumane, but now they burned with a frenzy that overshadowed all my memories of them. And every gargle, gasp, and grunt they got from me fueled that fire. Dozens of eyes laced with madness stared down upon me, rejoicing at my suffering. My consciousness was slipping away from me. I thought I could hear laughing and chattering, but it all passed through my ears as mere noise, nothing I could make sense of. Stay with me.
Amete.
Oh, thank goodness. You're awake.
Wait, what was I just doing? Oh, right. I was in the forest on the verge of death. Then Amete found me and...
We almost lost valuable manpower there. We were just discussing what to do about you, Giselle, and we decided to make you village property.
No, he didn't save me.
If you agree to work for us, well, we'll put this whole nasty mess behind us. Listen, you may be worthless in the fields and terrible with a loom, but there's plenty you can help with.
What are you going to make me do?
Well, you like to get your hands dirty, and considering I found you half dead in the forest, I doubt the rest of you is any cleaner.
Amete.
Well, it seems we've come to an agreement. I'll keep watch over her starting today, to make sure she stays in line and doesn't steal anything else.
Dirty stays in line, the way they're looking at me. They didn't have to spell it out. No, anything but that. Please, have mercy.
If you're begging for mercy, that means you know you've done something wrong. Well, let's see. There is one way, Giselle.
What?
Just give back what you stole, naturally. But if you're going to insist that that's not possible, well then, bring us something of equal value. And if you can't do that, well, then your life belongs to the village.
The men were cackling. They knew I couldn't do it, and they were enjoying watching me squirm.
Well, take your pick, Giselle.
Something of equal value. If I can get that, then you'll set me free? In that moment, a little bit of darkness bubbled up in my heart. Something maleficent whispered in my ear.
If you are in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. There's a village not far from here. Trade it for food, then make your way to a larger town. Yo, okay.
I think I know where you can get something worth some money. The mansion in the forest has some fairly valuable furniture in it. Oh, God. When did I become... You can steal some of that and sell it for good money. Such a despicable woman.
You mean the cursed mansion? You expect us to go there? Are you out of your mind? Anyone who goes near that house is killed by the witch's curse.
There's no witch living there. There's no curse.
Giselle, what do you know about that mansion?
I lived there for a while. Well, a month.
You what? You what?
The son of a noble lives there. He's human and he's alone.
A noble? Well, what's a noble boy doing this far from the city?
I presume he was banished there. I was sent to the mansion from the capital to act as his servant.
You're meaning to tell me that a Morgana Fata this house?
There was plenty of value in the house, shelves lined with books. There should be more than enough to pay the Lord 5 years' worth of taxes.
Is what you're saying true?
I would not lie. As bewilderment spread through Amede's house, I was unable to look at anything but the floor. I couldn't stop trembling. To protect myself, I had sold out Michelle.
And you swear there's just a single man living in that house?
Yes, it's only him.
All right. If it turns out you're lying, you'll pay. All right, everyone, you heard her. Take all the young men and tell them to get ready. We're going up to the mansion in the forest. And just to be safe, make sure everyone brings something that they can use as a weapon. And you, Giselle, you're coming with us. You'll be leading the way. And listen to me. Don't think about trying to run.
Right.
Fuck. What's up, Behemoth?
On the cusp of springtime, I found myself trekking through the dreary forest I had thought I would never set foot in again. How had I ended up here? How come I could never manage to avoid getting myself in these situations, and who would have guessed that my reason for returning to the mansion would be to loot it? I prayed for God to even show a little mercy and ensure Michelle wasn't around, though I knew the chances of that happening were almost zero. After several hours of walking, we broke through the thick woods and the mansion appeared before us. Like its surroundings, the house was bleak and uninviting. Even the midday sun seemed disinterested in shining its light upon it. Despite on the surface there not being much of anything impressive about it, the entire mob stood speechless before its overwhelming presence. But the men had weapons, and they were fueled by avarice, which gave them the courage to approach this place they wouldn't normally otherwise.
Well, the door won't open. I think it's barred from the inside. It would seem someone really does live in this cursed place. Huh, I'm honestly surprised. Even more so that it's not a witch, but just a noble. Door's old. We could break it down. Yeah, let's bust it down.
Hold on. There's no need to be barbaric. Did you even consider knocking on the door like normal people? You sound like a band of thieves.
That's something else coming from you. Who do you think proposed this plan, Giselle? You. All right, men. You ready for lives of luxury? Break down that door. Move that bus.
Stop it.
It's the damn nobles who make our lives so hard. They deserve to be robbed. Break it. Break down the door.
Please, stop this.
Break it down. Break it down. Break it down.
Stop. All their repressed emotions detonated. They battered the door again and again and again, and in a few minutes' time it was on the verge of collapse. They shouted and cheered and hooted like madmen as my peaceful life came crumbling down around me. Growing lightheaded from the anxiety, I squeezed my eyes shut, unable to bear it any longer. When the deep groan of a door opening echoed through the forest, it would seem you're not aware whose house you're trying to break into.
Picks that go hard.
The world went silent like time had come to a stop. No one could manage to say a word, only stare at the man who had appeared from within the mansion.
Surely you know what this place is called.
Beneath the dazzling midday sun, he had bone-chillingly alabaster skin and long, nearly translucently pale hair.
So surely you came prepared for whatever you would find.
And his eyes were like two blazing infernos staring out across the mob.
A demon!
Someone muttered, probably unconsciously. He did indeed look like something not of this world.
What's up, Spam?
It's a demon! The rumors about this place were true! A cursed demon lives here! Demon? Him? Michelle? No, he's not
Indeed, I am cursed. Picks that go hard, dude. The witch's curse is real. I have inherited it in its entirety, as well as her purpose. A witch, a demon, a spirit impure. Call me whatever you wish. For the truth shall not change. I carry within me an eternal curse. Behold my flesh, pale as the moon. No red blood flows beneath this skin as it does yours. Behold my hair, utterly devoid of color, offered up to the devil as part of our pact. And behold these crimson eyes, a symbol of the lifeblood spilt at my hands. I shall bring calamity upon you as the witch of legend. Never-ending famine, plague, catastrophe, suffering for generations. Until the moment of your deaths, you shall regret ever coming near this place. No, have mercy. We were just... It was that woman. She brought us here. She tempted us with promises of wealth. And she deceived us. She told us to pillage this house. Listen, we're innocent.
Amade,
Please have mercy on us. Give her to me then, as an offering. Absolutely, she's yours. Torture her however you please. I have one more condition. You never come near this house again. If you so much as consider it, you will all die by my curse. Oh, I swear it. We won't return. Run! Get out of here! Without so much as a glance back, the villagers scrambled into the forest. And Amade, the man who had rescued me that night, went right along with them. Is there kindness in the world? I wasn't sure what to think anymore. Don't think I'm helping you. His voice rained down on me, but I couldn't lift my head. There was such a gaping void in my chest. I had no idea what questions I should be asking anymore. What I should be angry about. What I should be sad about. Not even the first clue. Look at me. I'm captain now. Tell me, is it true you returned to the mansion to plunder it? Pics that go fucking hard, dude. Look at this. Dude, Michelle is so sick. It's honestly insane. That you brought those men here to rob me of my valuables? Answer me, Giselle. Yes, it's true. I persuaded them to steal from you. Are you really so desperate for money that you resort to looting? Just how low will you go? Not only did you seduce my father, not only did you go digging around for information about me, you brought a mob to this house. And they were armed, too. Were you trying to get me killed? Answer me, Giselle. Not even going to defend yourself. Well, your scheme failed and you're retreating into silence? Oh, for God's sake, you sicken me. I'm done with you. I'm done. Leave this place and never show your face here again. As he shouted at me and I stared into his fiery red eyes, a somewhat inappropriate thought crossed my mind. So he can get emotional like anyone else. And my heart, stripped raw and cast out to sea, finally sunk deep enough to be crushed by the pressure. Me. What? If you want me gone, then kill me. You can do that, can't you? You can use your curse to just kill me, can't you? Then do it. Right here, just use your power and take my life. If you don't want to do that, then stab me with your knife. Just kill me. Kill me. What? I'm done. I can't take it. I'm through with this whole world. No one will believe anything I say. No one cares one bit about how I feel. They just walk all over me and laugh. Why? Tell me why. Why is this happening to me? I never stole anything. What are you talking about? I tried my best. I tried my best to look happy. I thought everything would work out if I just kept smiling. I believed that I would make things better, but nothing ever got better. What did I do? Tell me, what did I do? All I ever did was believe. I tried my best to survive and to always wear a smile, but if everything's going to be my fault, if I have to deal with that for the rest of my life, then I'm done. I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to live in this world anymore. Calm down, please. I don't follow what you're saying. My understanding is that you desired money. So you brought that mob, and before that you used my father, and you wouldn't believe me even if I told you the real story. You'll take your family's word over mine. You don't have any idea what I went through there. How hard it was just to keep myself together. What? I never wanted riches. All I wanted was a decent enough wage to allow my family to live comfortably. That's all I wanted. But that man, he used my family against me. He made me. Forced me. He raped me. What? Again and again, no matter how much I resisted, he wouldn't stop. Again and again, he threatened me, beat me, cut me with a knife over and over and over again. My father raped you? No one would believe me. I did nothing wrong. You don't believe me either, do you? So I'm done. I don't want this body anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. I can't take it anymore. Help me. Please. Set me free. Kill me. Kill me already. Just use your curse and kill me. Give me a moment. I need time to process this. You can do it, can't you? Then kill me already. Kill me now. Damn it! Time. We can talk this through. I want to hear everything from the beginning. Inside. Let's go inside and talk. The light, it hurts my eyes. Whoa, fuck! Holy shit! What's up, Spam? How is House of Dragons? That was a door. I might have best let stay shut. Not knowing the truth would have been so much easier. I wouldn't have been made to shudder in disgust hearing about the crimes of my own family. But if I hadn't opened that door, I would have lost everything. That day, after far too long, I finally let myself see the person in Giselle. Normally the game, it does. Normally it beats around the bush a little bit. But no, yeah, that was, boom. That was, we were right, you know. That was the kill shot. That was like, it was bubbling and bubbling and bubbling and bubbling and bubbling. Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. For the people that came in, I probably should have dropped one of these before all that started. As you just learned the hard way, this is a very, very heavy story. It is one of the most critically acclaimed visual novels of all time. It sits in the top 50 highest rated games of all time on Metacritic. It is a story that is... You can't hear enough praises about this game. But it is a very intense one. It's about trauma. It's about, adversity. It's about tragedy. It's about bigotry. It's about, reprehensible situations and finding yourself and trying to find love and acceptance. And, maybe the Rihanna lyrics as a stream title are a little undercutting the weight of the whole thing. But yeah, we're here. Maybe having "We found love in a hopeless place" as the stream title is perhaps not the delicate balance of tone that this game can strike. But listen, I'm not Keika Hanada. I'm not the writer. You never noticed the stream title? Yeah, I made that one. I thought it was funny too. I thought it was funny earlier on in the stream. You can't have fun stream title that fits the vibe of this game. It's true. It's true. Hey, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks everybody for being a part of this stream. Maybe like one of the Jacopo streams. That's true. That's true. This game's great. We're going to finish up here. I'm going to read this scene. Hopefully it kind of winds down in a position, because I don't want to end on that, you know, without any sort of falling action, without any sort of calm after the storm. So I'm going to keep going here, but thanks everybody for hanging out. And by the way, said you have to wait for a new season, but it is what it is. You're enjoying it? Minky Moo was in the other room. My girlfriend was in the other room watching it. She's been watching it throughout the season. I don't know if she likes it or not. Like I have not heard like any sentences about the quality of House of Dragons. But hey, maybe they're doing all right. Maybe they're back. I bounced out of Game of Thrones. I forget when. Giselle didn't recover for some time after I managed to get her inside. Unsure what else I could do for her, I had her sit before the fireplace and waited in silence as she sobbed. I had no idea what one was supposed to say to someone who was crying. Was it normal to offer them a warm drink? I didn't know. I did know I needed to reflect on the things she had said outside and try to make sense of them, and from there calm myself down and prepare for the conversation we were to have, as unpleasant as I was sure it would be. A considerable amount of time later, Giselle's sobbing drew to a stop, an oppressive silence stepping in to take its place. For far longer than was comfortable, the only sound we heard was the gentle crackling of the fire. I had to say something. I knew that, but what I didn't know was how to begin. I knew nothing about having an honest, face-to-face discussion with someone about the things we were thinking and feeling. But that didn't change anything. I had to do it, even if down that road lay truths I would be happier not seeing. Giselle, could you please tell me what you did what was done to you at my family's home? How you ended up coming to this mansion and what happened after you left? I would like to know everything, from start to finish. Man, he really does not know how to have a deep conversation. Will you believe what I tell you? You never so much as gave me the time of day before. I very much doubt you will find what I have to say agreeable. Will you still believe me, even then? Believe my word, a stranger's word, over your family or the people of the village? I cannot yet say. I must hear what you have to say to make that decision. I suppose that might be better than you saying you'll believe me unconditionally. All right. I'll tell you everything. Just know that nothing I say is a lie. Understood. Giselle methodically recounted her tale for me. She told me of how she accepted an offer from the Bollingers to work as an Abigail to earn money for her family, of how my father, Antonin, had other plans for her, of the things he did to her. She spoke dryly, simply putting words to each event, one after the other, after the other. I had already seen how she felt deep down, though. Had heard her pained screams, which were undoubtedly genuine. I didn't think she was trying to deceive me. That was the sound of old wounds being torn open, and even I could see that. Or perhaps my own experiences were what allowed me to see it. Regardless, I had realized too late. I should have seen it sooner. She described it all mechanically to remain detached from what had happened to her, to protect herself. Of that, I had no doubts. Still, the things she told me were almost unbearable, and I had a difficult time accepting them. What was I supposed to do when I learned my father was a rapist? How was I supposed to react to that revelation? What was I supposed to think about the fact that his blood flowed through me? I repulsed myself.
Do you want all the details?
What do you mean?
Of the wounds he gave me. I still have scars from the things he did. And if you don't believe me, I can show them to you.
No, that won't be necessary.
I see. That's a relief. I don't think I could have handled that right now.
I hadn't turned down her offer for her sake. I only did so because I didn't think I could take any more. I averted my eyes to protect myself. Why had I taken my mother's word, brushing aside everything Giselle had said and done? I knew good and well my mother was no longer in her right mind, so why had I thought her letter the truth? Why had I been unable to think rationally? There were, I believe, several factors. My childhood, my past, the witch's whispers, and above all, my own character, consumed with distrust for everything. I had to face it now, to open my eyes once more to look at everything I had pretended away until now. I was not completely blameless for her suffering after all. Please, continue if you will.
I left off at the point where the mistress discovered what was happening, I believe. I was sent to this mansion to atone for my sins.
Sins that she didn't even commit.
It was decided I would be sent here rather than be executed, which is what the mistress wanted. At first, I assumed it would be essentially a private prison. But in the carriage on the way here, I was given a letter.
A letter? From whom?
It didn't say, but your father was the one who ordered me here, so I would guess it was him. The letter was very concise, simply explaining that there was someone already here. The Bollinger's youngest child. It didn't go into any more detail than that. But it did ask me to look after you.
Do you still have the letter?
I don't. The coachman took it back after I was finished. Thinking back on it now, that was rather strange of him to do. It was just a harmless letter.
Oh, it was anything but.
What?
Oh, it wasn't my father who wrote that letter. He believes me to be dead, so he would have sincerely thought he was banishing you to an empty house in a remote forest. The writer couldn't risk leaving anything that might suggest I was still alive.
Then who?
My brother, I believe. Either Didier or Georges? Georges? But I would guess Didier.
Your brother? Why would he?
I do not know. I can't imagine why he would write such a letter, or why he would want to tell you about me.
I don't believe he had any ill intentions, at least. I mean, he asked me to look after you. That makes it sound like he's concerned about you.
Then why doesn't he stay in contact? Why does he never respond to my letters? It's a bit late to suddenly start being concerned. No, never mind that now. Please, tell me the rest.
All right.
Giselle resumed her story from the day she fled the mansion, terrified by my behavior. Totally shades of Jacopo now. She seemed to be putting a bit more emotion in her tone of voice now, perhaps because she could see I was more interested in this part. There was a deep sadness on her face as she described that night in the rain, listening to the thunder, when she gave up on living, and I knew I had caused it. She then told me of the time she spent in the nearby village, how at first life had seemed wonderful, But in time, it had come crumbling down. Naturally, she wouldn't be here to tell me this if nothing had happened there. Once she was through with her tale, Giselle let out a long, heavy sigh, as though she had been holding it in for some time. I thought I could hear just a faint trembling in the air she exhaled. That is everything. Do you believe me? If you don't, if you still think I'm deceiving you, then I won't argue with you. That's fine. If that's the case, please, just kill me. Why didn't you tell me this sooner? I know I wasn't very open to anything you said, but if, that day, when I found you in my room, you had told me I was mistaken, that the sin belonged to my father, it might not have turned out like this. The knife. What? You were holding a knife. I can't handle blades anymore. Ever since what happened, they scare me to death. Just the sight of one in someone's hand, and I start thinking they're going to use it on me. I can't help it. I start shaking uncontrollably, growing faint of breath. The world goes white. I can't even form words. There's nothing I can do. Ah, now I finally see. She was grimacing in pain. The day the package arrived when you knocked my hand away. Because I was scared. Because it reminded me of that time. I assumed she was simply jumpy from a guilty conscience. I felt nauseous, realizing I had been pouring a constant stream of salt onto her unmendable wounds. You know what really, really good, like, contextual portrayal of, like, triggering, seriously. Like, even little things. Like, no matter what it is, like using a knife to cut open a box or whatever, you know? I know I have people in my life that have been in situations like just hearing loud gunshot-esque noises. Like I was talking about the pinball machine. It's something I think of all the time. Those mechanical pinball machines at that pinball arcade. The way that they knock as the numbers rotate and everything, like the big sound cracking and crashing in like a public place like that. I think about that kind of stuff all the time. And this is good. This is really good. We're hitting a fucking stride here. This is not a fan translation. This is an official translation. This got a full release on the Switch and the PS5 and the PS Vita. This is a full-blown $40 release. Why did you get so upset at me? Why did you have to point a knife at me? I didn't want you snooping. If you meant to sell information about me, I thought I had to do anything in my power to stop you. In fact, Masahiro Sakurai, the creator of Super Smash Bros., is making those video game design and development, like, behind-the-scenes videos lately. I don't know if you've seen them. If you haven't seen them, they're incredible. I think it's Masahiro Sakurai on creating games. And this was his first example of the power of a visual novel in the video. So, like, this game has clout. This game has serious industry clout. I'm still not convinced it was necessary. I was unarmed. I couldn't fight back. You didn't need a knife. I have nothing left anymore, so I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. You're a jerk. What you did was inexcusable. You may not have hurt me physically, but you still hurt me. Humans are frail creatures. They wound easily. And apologize. What? Apologize to me. I said apologize. I'm sorry. Again, put your heart into it. Please convince me you mean it. I'm sorry. Again, once more, get down on your knees and shout it from your gut. I'm so very sorry. Was that a laugh?
Jeez, you're such a strange man.
Strange. You told me to do it.
Nothing's going like I thought it would. I figured even if we talked, you would just deny everything I said. I didn't think you'd actually listen. But you did. You listened, and you looked quite distressed by what you had heard.
I looked distressed?
Oh yes, you sure did. I wish I had a mirror to show you. I'm sure you didn't want to believe what I said, but you didn't once accuse me of lying. You faced up to the truth, and you apologized. I seem to have had the wrong impression of you as well. I didn't try to see you for who you are, instead letting myself believe you were someone to be afraid of. And to be honest, I didn't like you very much.
Well, the feeling was mutual. But for some reason, I don't feel that way now. Is it guilt?
I need to apologize to you, too.
Apologize? For what?
I led the villagers here. I almost sold my soul to the devil. I tried to sell you out to save myself, and for that, I'm truly sorry.
I don't understand.
What? Do I need to get down on my knees, too?
No, that's not what I meant. The blame falls on the village for falsely accusing you of stealing. You were a convenient scapegoat for the real thieves. They planned to take advantage of you from the start. That Amede was probably in on it as well, to get back at you for rejecting his proposal, plus giving the village a single target to let out their frustrations on would in a way help unify them. And so he used you to meet that end. In order to escape from their trap, you told them about me. But this was after I had threatened you, causing you to flee from this place, so you have nothing to apologize for.
Still, I feel really bad about it. So, I'm sorry anyway.
You are unexpectedly stubborn.
But now that we've both apologized to each other, we can call everything square.
Square?
Square. We were both in the wrong, so we apologized and we forgave each other.
She gave me a little smile, but all I could do was stare at her, brow furrowed in perplexity, like I was looking at some bizarre Fantasyland creature. The weight of our crimes was not equal. What I had done to her was so very much worse, and furthermore, I am Antonin's son. His blood flows through me. Can you honestly say you don't find me revolting, that you're willing to forgive me for that? I didn't think I would be able to, and if I were her, my grudge would extend to all of my family and everyone I had ever come in contact with.
I can. Although you don't need forgiveness for being his son, being related to someone doesn't make you responsible for their sins. It wouldn't be fair to blame you for that.
You're curious.
What? Curious? About what?
No, not that curious. You're a strange creature.
I'm human, you know.
Yeah, I know you're human. You're making me lightheaded.
Is it a medical emergency?
That's quite the leap in logic.
You know, I was at my lowest just a little bit ago, and now I'm laughing again. It's odd. I never expected I would recover at all.
I was just as surprised as her. She had been through hell, and she had more than enough reason to despise me, to shower me with vitriol. But instead, she was smiling. And even more unexpected was the fact that I felt relieved to see it.
I really truly wished I had gotten to know him sooner. Yes, I had fled from the mansion in fear of him, but maybe if I'd had just a little more courage, enough to tell him the truth, maybe he would have listened. I had let my initial impression of him solidify too quickly, convinced myself he was insensitive and perpetually expressionless, save for the Arctic stare.
But the man standing before me did experience pain, sadness, distress, or at the very least he appeared to, from where I was standing. Michelle was just like me, an ordinary person. That said, there was still plenty I didn't know. I was still lacking explanations for much of his behavior. Would you mind telling me about yourself now? I'd like to get to know you better. What are you doing here in this mansion all alone? Why do you call yourself cursed? I told you everything. It's only fair you do the same. I have no interest in using your information for anything. I have no reason to. Or are you going to keep pushing the matter in master and servant line? Do you still think I have no need to know? Be quiet. For the love of God, stop talking already. You always pick the worst time. What? Excuse me, what do you mean I always pick the worst time? No, I wasn't. Unbelievable, just when I was starting to think you might actually be a decent human being, then you go and spout this? No, Giselle, I wasn't talking to you. Who else could it have been? I was talking to, you know. I have a condition that forces me to vocalize objections to my own thoughts. You know, that's about as convincing as my allergic to people excuse. Sorry. Weirdo. What crosses did he bear? What secrets did he keep? Maybe the truth was far beyond my reckoning. And if it was, even if he did, please, tell me everything. No matter what you say, I won't doubt your words. I will trust you. And I'm sure I can accept anything you say. Please, if you don't put it into words, I have nothing to work with. Okay, but please, bear with me. I've had 61 concussions. Where should I start, though? How about the curse, then? Are you actually cursed? That's a difficult question. I cannot, for example, take someone's life with my curse, nor can I bring about disaster. I don't have any magical powers like that. So what you said outside was a bluff, then? It was just a way to chase the villagers away. Well, you certainly put on a convincing performance, so you can't actually curse anyone, huh? Regardless, I am human. Nothing more, nothing less. At least, I consider myself one. Others would disagree, and the reason for that has to do with my body. Your skin, hair, and eye color, right? Right. Seeing Michelle under the sun, he certainly wasn't what most people would consider normal. Awe-inspiring, in fact. Giving birth to me, it broke my mother. No, I drove her mad. Not only do I appear inhuman, I'm oversensitive to sunlight. While a little bright light through the window isn't much of a problem, I can't be outside, directly under the sun for more than a couple hours. When she realized I couldn't go out into the sun, my mother started thinking I was possessed by a demon. So she banished me to this mansion until my curse was broken. That was 10 years ago. Just because you look different from them. The family's reputation was at stake, too. If other noble houses realized they were giving refuge to an unholy creature, it would destroy the Bollingers. You saw how the villagers reacted. They called me a demon when they saw me. I suspect the rumors about the mansion played a large part in that. If nobody thought the house was haunted, they wouldn't have... I'm sure you were afraid as well. You saw me and thought I was not of this world, that I looked like a demon. I thought you looked like an angel. A what? I at least thought you looked more like an angel than a demon. It never once crossed my mind that you might be evil. But I understand your situation now. Because of your appearance, you've lived all alone in this dark mansion for 10 years. It was never really an inconvenience. They bring me all the supplies I need.
You big liar. Have you never considered running away?
That's not an option.
Because of the sun?
No, I could move during the night if I really wanted to. I'm being watched, to ensure I don't leave.
Watched?
They can't allow anyone to find out that I am alive, particularly at the Bollinger estate. If I were to run, and they were to find out, I would probably be killed. If only I didn't stand out so much, I might be able to stay out of sight easier. But also, I had been holding on to a little hope, I think. Hope that I might be able to return someday. I have all but given up that hope now, though. Not that I ever had enough willpower to really fight for it.
I see.
You don't need to worry about pitying me either. It's long since become normal to me.
That's not something that should ever become normal. So what was that really, a moment ago? You don't actually have a condition that makes you argue with yourself, do you? Please tell me.
You don't have to believe me. In fact, I doubt you will. You're free to think I'm completely mad.
Don't worry, I want to know.
I can hear the witch's voice.
The witch's voice?
It started when I first arrived at the mansion. No one else can hear it either. Like I said, it sounds crazy.
Not at all. I said I would trust you, so I believe you. Maybe he's not well. Yeah, that has to be it. 10 years all alone in one place and you're bound to start hearing things. He seems like a delicate person, too. Thinking about it like that, I'm starting to feel really sorry for him.
Do I want to know what you're thinking?
I'm here for you.
Huh?
I've made up my mind. I'm gonna stay here with you.
Wait, what?
Don't worry, I'll shout so loud you won't even be able to hear that silly witch's voice anymore.
Will you now?
If you hear it again, let me know, understood? You don't have to be afraid.
I never said I was...
Whenever you hear it, I'll be there with you, holding your hand. Well, we kinda took the extremely long route, but there you have it. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Master.
Master.
Now, where should we begin? I know, supper. Are you hungry? What should I make?
Slow down, please.
What is it? If there's something you'd like, I'm happy to accommodate.
You actually intend to stay here? Again? After what happened last time?
Because of what happened, because of that, we're finally able to see past each other's surface. I want us to try again, from the beginning, and this time, actually try to be considerate of one another's feelings, and that's a promise, Master.
All right.
I can stay here, right?
I don't mind.
I'm glad to hear it.
Say.
Yes, Master?
If you ever want something from me, could I please ask you to put it in words? I don't have much faith in my ability to pick up on things.
Got it. Then here's something to start with. What do you say we open some of these windows?
Oh, open the windows?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to if you think it'll cause you problems, but it would be nice to get a little light in here. I'd like to put an end to this house being a dark, closed-off cave.
I wasn't the one who barred the windows.
You weren't?
They were like that when I arrived. Made it seem like a very appropriate place to lock me away. While I am sensitive to light, yes, as I mentioned, a little sun through the windows shouldn't cause any problems.
All right, then. Can I ask you to help me open them? Let's both lighten this place up.
After a few moments of silence, Michelle gave me a curt nod. While we couldn't do anything about the windows that had been boarded up, the two of us forced open the ones that were just covered by rusted-over shutters. When we got the first one opened, a beautiful stream of light like nothing I had ever seen before flooded into the dark mansion's halls. I had assumed that spring would never come. All we had to do was talk to each other, listen to each other, and everything else would fall into place. But it was that first step that was so hard, so much harder than either of us had expected. And now that the ice was melting, we had to treasure that. It might not have seemed like much to anyone else, but to us, it was a huge accomplishment. Next week, starting fresh. Starting fresh. They learned the power of words. And we're a new era, a new spring has sprung for the house in Fata Morgana. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This has been a great stream. I think that this stream, writing-wise, of the house in Fata Morgana, I think the best writing work. Like, those last two scenes were insanely, like really, really well done dialogue. Really great. Awesome. The village, the big reveal, everything. The initial, like, knife scene, crazy.